Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This episode is brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee. And I was just on their website, and I wish I could have told you all about this on Friday because they're finishing up their buy one, get one coffee sale. It's going to go through February 4th, which is earlier and will be done before this episode actually airs. But that's okay. There's still plenty of opportunity for you to get that love of your life, some coffee, which is probably going to make them love you even more. And I'm not sure if that's true at all, but I'm going to go ahead and say that. So if you go to blackriflecoffee.com, you've probably heard me say this many times, but it's true, and it's where I go for all of my coffee needs, whether that be bean coffee or things to even make coffee with or in or travel around with coffee. You can kind of do whatever you want to do. It's an amazing company. It's founded by amazing people. And I mean, one of the best things that you could do to support me in the podcast is to support them because they are the sole sponsor that I have. And that's it on the business side of the house. Let's talk about my guest today. He's a repeat guest. His name is Rob Bailey, and he is one of my favorite people to talk to. He's just awesome to sit across the table and chew the fat with. And I don't even really know how to describe him because he wears many hats. He does... he's an entrepreneur. Let's start there, perhaps. He owns the company Flag Nor Fail, in addition to a couple other companies in the supplement space. He's a music artist. I would actually just call him an artist in general. I think he has a very artistic mind. But he does music. Occasionally, every once in a while, he'll do some YouTube content. He hosts a coaching platform called CCV, Clear, Calculated, and Vicious. He's into a lot of stuff. And I love the fact that he is here in the Flathead Valley. And I can call him up and say, hey, man, come on over to the podcast studio. Let's BS for a few hours. So let's get into it. Episode 271 with Rob Bailey. Enjoy.
Okay, I got the red smoke. Gun run, north and south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. Get cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
So tell me again, your life is in danger, you're looking for security.
No.
What kind of person, well, I know the type of person that is interested in talking a little bit shit. There's a different level, though, if you tell people, hey, this is where I live and come get a piece of that.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world where I'm going to say at least half of people are idiots.
Yeah, okay.
And they're going to come to your house.
It, only half of the people? Yeah, no, I don't think I need security at this point in time in my life. I feel secure.
I don't think most people need security. I think and that's why my first question to you was, is this person a high net worth individual? Sometimes I think they fall into the trap of thinking it's almost like a...
well, there's multiple reasons. I'm not going to get in the reasons.
Multiple reasons, but it's like, hey, it's almost like an entourage thing. Like, look at this crew, look at how I roll with. I do know some people who have absolutely no need for security and pay an exorbitant amount of money for their security. And if I was one of those security guys, I'd be like, hey, should we artificially create a threat here? Like, do we need to fuck with this guy? Because we might lose our jobs.
To make life fun.
To make job security a real thing.
I know people like that.
Yeah. But if you don't tell people where you live and you're not an asshole on the internet,
okay,
I think most people are going to be good.
That's where I'm at. And I have a gate. You can't get by the gate.
Yeah. Nobody could ever go around the gate.
When you drive past my warehouse and you see my gate, you're like, I'll never be able to infiltrate that.
The new Flag Nor Fail warehouse?
Yeah.
That building is spectacular, by the way.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. The architecture on it is great.
My architect did a great job.
So we soft open tomorrow at the coffee shop.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And it was my first time ever. I still don't think of myself as a developer, but I think kind of fell into that role accidentally, myself and my business partner. It was my first real dealing with architects, and it's especially with a blue sky build. And of course, we attached it to a historic building. Why would we not make it fucking more difficult?
Yeah.
The historic building is badass, though.
Yeah.
The original owner, we don't know, and nobody does, whether or not he died from the fall or from the fire, but he was welding on the roof, and they found him dead and burned on the side. So
wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And it was in the olden days.
How old ago? How long ago?
I don't know, probably at least 30, 40 years ago. The olden days. No, this was...
and what's the building been doing since then?
It was dormant for a really long time. Oh. So it was one of... so the guy, I'm trying to think of his name. I think it was Gus Thibodeau. I'm positive that Thibodeau is the last name. Mm-hmm. But he had like one of the first cars in Kalispell. So that building over there, the historic one, it was an auto shop, whorehouse. I think they did
And
construction
he
out of
owned
there.
all these things?
They were all based out of the lot or in areas around there.
So wait, are you telling me that he was like, he had the first car, so he's like, I'll start an auto shop. And then a little while later, he's like, nah, let's fill it with whores?
Maybe at the same time. There's no reason why you couldn't.
I mean, that's one hell of a waiting room, right?
Yeah. Professional business comes up front, and those who don't want to get
like
caught,
it.
they go around back. But
All
I
right.
guess he was a handyman of sorts, and he was working on a rain spout on the roof.
Ooh.
In, I think, overalls. I might be making that up because
Okay.
it fits the story better in my mind.
Yeah.
Welding,
Okay.
caught himself on fire, either was like in the process of dying and then tipped over or died from the fall. But he was found dead and burned. So we're going to call it Thibodeau Park, the outside area.
Really?
Yeah, and we're thinking
Okay.
about doing like a
I was wondering
caramel
where-
macchiato with like a scorched foam.
Oh my God. You know, that's a funny thing. Like how long, and my boy brought this up the other day. He's like, how long until you joke about like really bad things like that?
Several seconds.
Because like what's the place called in Kalispell, the restaurant? My brain, too much caffeine, it's not going to fire. It's like the podcasts don't work if my brain doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay, so
What type of food?
Okay, so
we'll go big to small.
We're going to start, and then it's going to kick in. The noodle place.
Okay. Like Faux 406?
No, it's named after. Oh my goodness. Next story. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
Halfway through this, I'm just going to say it out loud, really weird, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't eat a lot of noodles, so I don't know if I'm the perfect
It's not
person
even a
for this
noodle
story.
shop.
You just got off the road too, right?
I've been on the road for 2 weeks. Yeah.
What have you been doing?
Thanks for changing topics there. So we had like a big mastermind event in Salt Lake. And then after that, I went down to Florida, and I was in Florida for a week. So that's probably why I'm a little off right now. You know how Florida is.
I spend very little time there.
Really? I
intentionally.
ate at Mar-a-Lago. And I sat 15 feet away from Donald Trump, and I ate tapas.
Okay. How was it?
Actually, really, really good. I didn't expect it to be that. I've eaten there before.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be that good because, like, I don't look at Donald Trump and think like, oh, he prioritizes like the fanciest food. But it was actually really, really good.
Was he just sitting there chilling, eating, or is he kind of holding
So he
court?
was right behind me.
Okay.
And every time I've eaten there, which is like 4 times now, he's always just having a big meeting with people. I don't know who he's meeting with.
Like he's just in public.
So it's his house.
Yeah, but you think he'd have like an office or like a off
No.
public area suite
No,
so you
so-
can have a private conversation?
So the way that it works is he has like the big eating area. It's like the outdoor restaurant. And then literally his house is right there. So like you eat, and then at some point in time, you can see security sort of getting ready. And then he walks out of his house and then sits down to eat. And everyone stands up and claps. It's really cool. It made me sort of
Cool.
plan.
I had different words for that.
It made-
Awkward would be
it
a
made-
beginning.
It made me think about like, granted, I live in the middle of nowhere, but if I was completely to rearrange my life, I was like, yeah, I'd want a big group of people outside my house and clap every single time I came out.
That doesn't happen to you,
It's like a standing ovation, and he put his hand up, and then they just
No, he
kept.
didn't.
Yeah, and he's like, because he's waving at everyone.
I think the worst thing that somebody could do to that man is not pay attention to him.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
Yeah, it is sort of an attention play, I guess.
it's 100% an intentional, and I'm not judging it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, man, don't ruin my experience. I loved it.
I want you to love your
I
experience.
liked because I didn't belong there. I
Did
had
you
to
take a picture of a small spoon?
No, I had. Yeah, I did. I think.
What's
I
the
did.
deal with that, by the way?
I can't tell you.
You
I feel like
can't
you should
tell
already
me?
know, man.
Why is that?
The small utensils.
I mean, your hand is normal size.
It's not a big hand thing. It's not. Yeah, it's a decent sized hand. It's not a big hand though.
They're like oyster spoons or forks
Yeah.
that you take pictures of.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
So when I started recording music, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that, there was a small espresso station in the studio, and it had these little tiny wooden spoons, right? And whenever like I hit writer's block, or like I was getting in my head or on my phone too much, I was like, I need caffeine. So I would go over, and when I would mix the little espresso, I'd mix a little sugar in it, and I'd use the little spoon, and it all felt like so silly, but I had to like really slow down to use this small utensil. And then when I came back to my house, I was like, I really like those little wooden spoons. So I started buying the little wooden spoons, and it it's just like a moment for me to slow down, because a lot of my life is like all over the place. My artistic brain is completely a mess. And whenever I see a small utensil, I'm normally doing something fancy, or that, like oysters or eating caviar or something like that, where it's like, ooh, this is a special moment. Slow down and appreciate this moment. So I try to look for small utensils that make me slow down and appreciate a moment. And then even better, I put them in my hand and I take a photo of the moment, and then it confuses everyone.
It truly does.
It's very confusing. But
I like the pictures. I like the comments more.
That's the simple story behind it.
Yeah. Okay. I dig that.
Yeah.
Do you really like the taste of caviar?
I do. I fucking love caviar.
It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever had.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Well, I don't know if I had good or bad caviar.
That you obviously had. What did it taste like?
Like a hobo's butthole?
Then you had... I don't know what you ate. I don't even know how... No, it doesn't taste like that at all. No, caviar is incredible. I order at every restaurant I go to. I eat it often. Yeah. Caviar is like my thing. It's very weird. It sounds very fancy. But essentially what it is, it's like a really buttery salt. Like if you had good caviar, it tastes like a really buttery salt.
Isn't it just like fish semen?
It's fish eggs, but yeah.
Same thing.
Out of a Sturgis. Okay, yeah. You're
I'm
not
just
jerking
saying.
off a fish to get caviar.
It'd be a better story if you were.
No. So, and the Sturgis, dude, have you ever seen one? They're enormous. They're bigger than this table. They're like 150 pounds. They live to be 100 years old, and they make these giant eggs. Yeah.
And there's a fleet of people jerking them off for your culinary delight.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Fucking gross.
So Hobo's butthole.
I mean...
All right, next time I come...
It's a flavor profile. I'm not saying that...
So what is... You have me on here, what, once a year?
You can come on as much as you want.
All right, well, I'm bringing caviar next time.
Ooh. And honestly, I didn't have a good experience with it.
Do you want to be honest?
What do you eat with it?
So there's a secret.
Okay.
So it's not that really upper class. So I'm actually coming out with a new podcast with my boy, and it's called Chips and Caviar.
Okay.
Because we eat Pringles and caviar. It's like the perfect pairing.
What type of Pringle?
Original. You don't want to get too fancy.
No sour cream and onion?
No.
Cheddar, perhaps?
No. Because a lot of times caviar, they want you to put little accoutrement on it.
I see people putting it on like little toast.
So it's a little pancake, but I don't like that because the pancake doesn't have like the rigidness that it needs, and it's an odd shape, but the Pringle's perfect for it because you can even just scoop with the Pringles.
Okay.
Yeah. In case you don't have the pearl spoon, because you have to have the pearl spoon. That's a small little pearl spoon you see.
Okay.
Because when you're a caviar snob, which I'm not, they don't like the metallic taste that the caviar picks up from the metal spoon.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
So that's why.
In the fucking eighth of a second as it's passing from one medium
Listen,
to the
bro,
other.
when you're doing fancy shit.
That's how people end up choked to death
When
by
you're
their
doing
own ascot.
fancy things.
You're like, oh, what?
Listen, I'm not a fancy guy, man. Let me have something. Okay?
You're a relatively fancy guy. The architecture on your building indicates...
You think that's fancy?
It's artistic. It's great architecture.
It's clean. It's not traditional Montana architecture.
No, I actually don't know what would be considered traditional Montana architecture.
Probably your building. You just said a guy had a whorehouse that he made cars and fell off the roof and died, and it's historic.
Rectangular brick building.
There you go.
Which we put on some very
when we stay,
atypical Montana architecture.
When you say historic, it's like...
in the register.
90 years old.
Yeah, it was in the 1800s.
Because in a lot of these other places, like that's not really... Like my first house was built in 1895.
That's very historic to me.
Yeah. But for me, it was like, oh, it's just as a normal house. Huh. That was over in the Pennsylvania.
Yeah, before you made the Great Journey West.
The Great Journey, yeah.
Yeah, before
in
the river.
Horse and
hopefully you didn't lose a lot of oxen along the way.
It was pretty easy. It's pretty easy. I traveled right across. I didn't get pulled over at all. It was a pretty easy journey.
So what were you doing in Florida?
I was seeing my friend.
Okay.
I was seeing my friend. My friend just got out of prison.
What was he in prison for?
Being a bad person. You know,
what
why
type
else do
of
people
bad
go
person?
I actually...
What's
so
his
not
name
really
and
being,
what did he do?
Okay, so his name is Aaron Singerman.
I was joking.
Aaron Singerman, he's the owner of Redcon One.
Okay.
And he's actually... that's the first time I ever saw the government take anyone.
Take anyone like...
Like the government wants you, and then they just take you. And I witnessed the whole entire thing from the inception to the end of it. So really long story short is, you know what pro-hormones are?
Not really.
Okay, so pro-hormones are essentially you can make compounds of steroids that make you really jacked, but sell them in GNC.
Okay.
Okay. They don't really exist anymore. So there's a point in time when the government said, hey, we should probably cut down on these legal steroids being sold as pro hormones and whatever. So everyone made them. But my boy was a sort of a dumb meathead, like bodybuilder. So he started making a lot of money, and then they were on the cover of a magazine. So which made them like the big target. So the government said pretty much they made a list of like 10 pro hormones that were banned. I think 10. I'm sort of making up some numbers. So that was like 30% of what they produced. But so say they had 10, 3 of them were banned. The other 7 were still good.
Yeah.
So they knocked out 5 of them. They took 2 more that they're like, meh, these ones are gray area. They kept a couple more, and they didn't really sell them that long. And then the government chose them to make an example out of, and they fought it for 5 years, got indicted, and fought it. And he ended up pleading guilty because what I didn't know is when you do something like that that's like sort of illegal but technically wasn't, all that things, it's not really that what the government gets you for, it's everything else. So like they made money off that, and then he bought, say, a Rolls Royce with it. So all of a sudden that's like wire fraud. And then anything else, he moved it. Like normal business transactions all of a sudden become different things. So yeah, talking to him, he was like, yeah, man, like if I go in front of an actual jury of my peers, who's not my peers, because the average person doesn't have a Rolls Royce, they're going to like really leverage the fact that like steroid dealer bought Rolls Royce that costs more than your house. Pretty guilty, huh? So it was very interesting to watch. And then he pled and he got, what did he get? 54 months. And it was very strange. They just took him. And I was like, whoa, that was fast.
How was his 54-month experience?
It was fast because he was out in 11.
Which is good. But I mean,
really, really good.
Even that 11 months, I mean, what was that like?
Not bad at all. I visited him a lot of times. It wasn't bad. I mean, it's prison.
Yeah.
But it was one of those like outdoor prison camps in Florida where you could still visit him every Saturday and things like that. So,
I mean, I guess.
I mean, it still sucked, man. It took 11 months of his life away from his 3 kids. Very painful to watch. Caused a lot of trouble, but he's out now. So.
The supplement industry is fucking wild and fast.
That's you know, that's why I don't want to be in it. Because if you come out with anything that's like really good, all of a sudden you're like a target. And it's only a matter of time until it gets taken off the market just because, you know, then Big Pharma wants it. I don't want to go too far down that road, but...
How shocked were you that the Liver King wasn't natural?
Ooh, I was... the Liver King, man, I thought we were... so I wasn't shocked at all.
Stop it.
No, he obviously...
With that physique, you could tell it's kettlebells and probably kale, the 2 Ks that got him looking like that. And a lot of fucking sun and skin dye.
I'm very curious.
Are you, though?
No, now that he's 27 days natty, like I wish he would define what natty is. Because like...
Is that his new path?
So he's off drugs now, right? And it's been 28 days.
He said he was never on drugs to begin with.
And then he said that he lied and he came clean.
Yeah.
And now he's saying he owes it to everyone. I love it as a marketing play. But now he's 28 days off of drugs, apparently.
I can see the entire thing as a marketing play. I think his...
Did you see the original emails?
Yes.
Okay. And he was like, I'm going to blow up in a year. I'm going to be super jacked
100%.
And take over the internet.
And kind of did exactly that.
And that's exactly what he did. I love it, dude. I love it.
Then got a little bit more traction by coming out publicly and saying, hey, my bad. Mm-hmm. And did it in character. There's nothing I like more than an apology.
It's beautiful.
In character. Yeah. What it means to me is you really mean it. Like you can't even...
I love everything about him. I love everything about him.
The only thing I don't love about, what
don't you love about him?
Well, I was going to say what I don't love about him is that so many people fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. But that's
no one fell for it, dude.
Oh my God!
No.
But what I was going to say
Who fell for it? Did anyone in this room fall for it?
No.
Okay.
But the people that did fall for it, I was just going to say.
Can you phone a friend and call someone who fell for it? I don't know a single person who fell for it. Really?
They're on the internet. Look for them. You'll find them.
No, they're not real people, dude. They're Russian bots.
I don't think Russian bots are that smart. What I was going to say, though, is if somebody falls for that, it's actually you got to split, I think, the culpability. I mean, like, if you're being dishonest, that's one thing. But if you are so oblivious to obvious facts, that's on you as well. I don't know what the split is. Maybe 60-40. Maybe it's 50-50. 27. So what would – okay. I don't know a lot about performance-enhancing drugs.
I know a little bit.
So he was on like $10,000 a month worth of stuff.
12. And that's mostly growth hormone.
Okay. If you get off of all of that,
Yeah.
what's that look like 27 days later? If he actually, is that a cold turkeyable thing, or do you have to titrate off?
I doubt he did cold turkey. He's too.
What would happen if you did?
I would say he would look good for about 3 weeks, and then he would just start feeling like shit, which I think is what would really happen if you come off right. Because once again, I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I know that he was doing growth hormone. I know that he was doing testosterone and a bunch of other stuff. His cycle was pretty big. Very
Peptides
aggressive.
is a word I heard a
Yeah,
lot too.
he had a very aggressive cycle. Once again, I'm not the fucking steroid expert. I just know a little bit. I'm assuming he came off the right way, right? And essentially what you need to do is your testosterone turns off when you start adding in artificial testosterone, which a lot of guys, once again, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but a lot of guys take like HCG or something like that, and that keeps your normal testosterone on a little bit. So I'm assuming he had to be doing something like that. So then he would transition off and he needs to get his natural test levels to come back up to then work, which should just all be taken care of with liver and testicles.
Of course.
Yeah.
I wonder how much muscle mass do you think he would lose off the sauce?
So not to be an asshole, he's a little guy.
He's tiny.
Very little.
He's like 5'6".
I don't think he's over 200 pounds, to be honest.
Really?
I don't think he is. I don't know how much he weighs.
I didn't realize how short he was until somebody was telling me.
He's very. I was looking at that TV as if
Michael can pull that shit up.
you can pull up Liver King's height
That's
and
what I'm
weight.
doing.
Yep.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
see.
now that I know this is interactive, I'm going to be like,
Oh,
so.
yeah. What do you got, Michael? I'm going to guess 5'6", 205.
5'6", 205.
Look at them titties if you scroll up, Michael.
Oh my God, they're in centimeters. but in all fairness, like I looked, if you find the picture of when he was like 16, he had that same physique. It's just not as enhanced.
What?
So 5'7", 176. Yeah, I'd say that's about appropriate. I mean, he's a little dude.
That really does, and it's if you only see somebody like on your phone or on YouTube.
100%, he looks like a giant.
He like 320,
So it's the same thing. It's
325.
the same thing with my wife. When people meet Dana, they're like, "You're so little." I'm like, "Yeah, she's 5'3.5", 130 pounds."
Is she 5'3.5"?
Yeah, but you look at her online and you're like, "This bitch is huge."
Like definitely 5'4".
right? Like she could beat me up.
No,
like, but she
not at all.
looks bigger than like 100. Not you. You're a trained professional.
I could beat your wife up. I'm not saying I
You
ever
should
want
fight
to,
her.
but I will absolutely.
When's the hard opening of Black Rifle?
February 25th.
Okay, let's set it up. You and Dana fight in the horror parking lot. What were you calling it? The horror parking lot?
I've never called it that, but we can call it that if you want to, because it's pretty good. I like it's a catchy ring.
The horror lot.
Oh yeah, the horror lot. Are we fighting to the death? Do we have any rules? on
Why
that?
would you fight to the death?
I'm asking.
I'm pulling that off the table. You're too intense. That's a weird question.
You said we should fight.
No, I just thought you guys should fight. Like get sumo costumes or something, and
That's not a fight. That's
it's a
bouncing
fun
off of each
fight.
other.
No one's gonna get hurt.
I would never hurt your wife. I'm just saying.
Okay, you're just looking for rules. Of
I'm just saying
engagement.
I could beat her up if I wanted.
Okay,
to.
all right.
Dana,
Well,
I would
she's
never
gonna
do
hear
that.
This. I'm going to tell her after this. I'm going to say,
Well, put it in context. The
You got
context is I would
threatened.
never do
No
that
context.
because I think she's awesome.
I said he wants to fight you to the death in the whore lot. Done.
That could lead to some questions for sure.
I don't have any answers.
So he's only 176 pounds, a lot
little
of
guy.
muscle mass.
He's a freak, and he trains really, really hard.
But can he train at that level absent the
I think so.
additional things that he's
I think
taking?
so. Yeah. He's been doing it for so long. He's been doing it for so long. He'll be able to do all that same stuff. I think his recovery is going to suffer. Like he's not going to recover as fast, obviously.
Yeah.
And the big thing is he's not going to be as lean. One thing that I noticed in looking at him as like an experiment project.
Yeah,
This
there
is
is
him
hunger.
as a teenager.
That's him as like 18 years old.
Apparently.
Like he still has that chest with those.
Yeah.
But
First off, he's genetically gifted.
yeah,
for
he's
sure.
a monster, and
Yeah.
he's a hard worker too, man. He's a hard worker, and I think that's one of the things about like gear is people want to be like, oh, well, he's on gear. It's like, yeah, but he's looked at that forever. So the one thing I was concerned about because I like him so much was
I'm assuming you've actually met him.
I've never met him. No,
Okay.
no. But he's in my DMs all the time, but I don't think it's him. Like I think he has a team like reaching out
What's he talking to you about?
in the same voice. It's like, "What's up, Primal Rob?" and then he's like, "I'll be at Olympia weekend. We should cross paths." And I'm like, "Okay."
Is that like a?
I don't
Did he
know. It's
sexually
just
accost
stuff
you?
like
Was that like a?
No, I
invitation?
just said like, okay.
We should cross paths. Is that?
No,
mean?
it's like hanging out, like how you cross paths with me all the time. But I would like to see him.
I do it safely from a distance where you don't know that I'm there. It's totally different.
It's very creepy. But I was worried about his stomach because, like, I think the abs are great, but what I think people didn't notice was over the last year, I felt like his stomach was getting bigger. Like,
is that a result of the stuff he was taking?
yeah, a lot of times your organs shift and grow and to eat food and things like that, yeah. I mean,
wow.
I think. I'm talking a lot of bro science right now. I feel like I'm being set up as an expert on these things. And I'm
you
not.
know more than me. I know almost nothing about it.
Okay, well, I'm
other
making
than when I
most of this
looked
shit
at him,
Yeah.
and I put back through my Rolodex of every
Yeah.
other human being that I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
He's the only one that looks like that who claims that he's not on something.
Yeah, because he's
I know there's a lot of
yeah, he's not going to be as lean, I think, but he'll still look dope.
speculation about ab implants.
I think those
well.
are his real abs. I mean, he's shared enough older photos that I think he's just like freak. He's just a freak.
Can you imagine
I
the
can imagine a lot of things.
headspace that you would need to get to say, hey, I know what I need to do? Ab inserts. That's your phone or mine? That's mine.
You're not a professional at all.
Somebody's calling me from Beloit. I don't even know where that is, and I had this on, so they must have called me twice. No,
A double call's an emergency, right?
not from an unknown number. Especially from Beloit, WI,
Where is that? Oh,
Wisconsin, I'm assuming.
Wisconsin. Never been there.
Imagine, though, getting to a place where you felt like to be a full version of yourself, you had to get artificial implants in your abs. That's a weird one. I guess I don't know.
It's a.
I mean, I
like,
guess
not
it
to
could,
be an asshole. It's a female trait.
well, I was going to say
Yeah.
you could put it over to breast
You
augmentation as
switch
well.
it over to the female thing, and dude,
Yeah.
there's so many fake butts now. Like, I didn't really even realize a fake butt was the thing, but apparently everybody has them.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I haven't researched how to do it. I've just been like, it's called a BBL. I don't even know what it stands for. I'm pretty versed on like the high end bro science of the internet, but I don't really know like deeper than that. Like, I never said like, well, what do they actually do?
Wave tops, if you will.
Wave tops?
Yeah, you're aware of the wave tops. You're catching the peaks.
Yeah, I know
of what's
just
going
enough.
on.
So I can hang in the conversation, but then if we really dig deeper, like on a podcast, I have to make majority of it up.
All right, fair enough.
So
before Florida, you said you were in Salt Lake City?
Salt Lake City, yeah.
What were you doing there?
So I have a coaching group.
As I'm a member of.
I know.
I'm like ridiculously far behind.
It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. So I'm actually going to change the whole structure of that. So I've had a coaching group for a year.
Yep. I think it's been longer than that.
Probably been longer.
Because I think I joined in like the second or third iteration, if
Oh
not
my
farther
God.
beyond.
So you've been in forever.
For a while. The nice thing about it, and I'll let you explain what it is. The nice thing about it is you can go back and you can reference and resource stuff.
Yeah.
And that's one of the largest values that I find in it is the ability to go back. And also, I really think that when people get to a place where they don't think they can learn anymore or they can't
Exactly.
be coached, you're about to be in
Yeah.
a pretty shitty spot.
Yeah, I hire coaches for everything, man.
Yeah.
So I have like when I get really weird, I have my fitness coach. I have a spiritual coach that helps me through like spiritual stuff and relationship things. I have multiple business coaches. Like, yeah, the more coaches I can get, the better.
Yeah.
Just different perspectives, making sure I'm on the right path. You know, I've spent enough time in my life fucking up down the wrong road and been like, wow, that's a hard lesson.
Yeah.
And if like there's someone who's ahead of me that can be like, hey, you went right when you should have went left, you know, I appreciate that. So yeah, I started coaching. I started one of these very popular coaching groups that everybody does, called Clear, Calculated, and Vicious. And I essentially try to help people take control of their lives.
Was it tough for you to get to a place where you thought you were able to do
horrible. Yeah. My friend called me, Sean Whalen, actually. Lines Not Sheep, that guy.
that? I'm peripherally familiar.
Lines Not Sheep, Sean Whalen. Shout out to my man. Yeah, he called me up one night and he's like, you should start a coaching group. And I was like, but you have a coaching group. He's like, I know, you should start one too. You're different than me. I was like, and what's like, we would be like against each other in the coaching world? He's no, there should be as many as possible. And I said, why? And he says, you have so much stuff to offer, right? He's like, you're a pilot, you own real estate, you own multiple clothing lines, you own multiple supplement lines, you have this amazing relationship, you travel, your music. Like, he's like, you've literally done everything. And I was like,
You're
okay.
quite diversified, actually.
I try.
Yeah.
And he said, and so you should coach people. And I was like, bro, I have no idea what I'm doing. He's like, yeah, but how many mistakes have you made? And I was like, oh, a lot. He's like, how many millions of dollars have you fucked up and lost? And I was like, a lot. Like a lot. And that's the angle he hit
That's
me
a
with.
gnarly
He's like,
sentence.
how much money have you lost? And I was like, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he's like,
Like lost or like missed opportunities?
just missed opportunities or fuck ups or ordering things that I can't sell, that just everything, right?
I have experience in that one. It's,
it's
so
beautiful.
fun. Do you know what I love more than anything? Holding inventory. It's a blast.
Yeah, I have things with supplements where like they'll start to clump and you call up the manufacturer and they're like, and they just drag you along. You're like, yeah, but I have 7 pallets of this. What should I do? And they're like, well, we're going to argue for a while. It's like, dope. Because you already have my money. and I have this product I can't sell, and it's taking up room in my warehouse. And the same thing for clothes. Like the first time I came out with V-necks, $90,000 in V-necks, and we tried to go with an American mill, which is always my fucking battle of like trying to keep it in America, and then realizing that like the American work ethic isn't exactly the greatest, right?
It's truly
it's
not.
different, man. It's different, and that's what sucks. It's like it's always the battle of trying to keep the people in my building fed versus the people in some other building that I don't know fed. So the supply chain for me is this like always evolving thing. But I remember the first time we tried to move to American Mill to do V-necks, it was $90,000. And it came back, and apparently at some point in time, I signed a piece of paper that had something to do with a variance of like 15%, which is crazy. I thought it was like 1.5%, but it was 15. So like, dude,
those pesky decimal points.
The sleeves were like down to here, and like the tops were really tight, and then it got like wider, and I was like, whoa, we can't sell these. And they're like, yeah, sorry. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just donate them to Africa to get a tax deduction, which I thought was a thing. Apparently is not. So what did we do with them? Oh, we donated them to the Salvation Army locally. And the person that received them was like, oh shit, this is Flagner Fail, and sold them to the local LA Fitness. And they set up a shop and started selling the Flagner Fail V-necks that didn't fit right.
Some people
and then I was
hustle,
like,
some people hustle, some people don't.
Wait,
Rob.
guys, I thought I donated. And they're like, yeah, we bought all of them. Now we have a shop representing your brand. And I was like, but like, that's a mistake I made. And it's so explain to Sean, I was like, yeah, I made tons of those. And he's like, cool. So you can at least, instead of coaching people, tell people what not to do. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. So I started a coaching group, and it took me a little while. I still have like imposter syndrome and stuff like that. So I've joined a lot of other people's coaching groups to watch their calls to be like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty smart.
I don't like hanging out with anybody who doesn't have a level of imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because the ones who think that they have it all nailed are the ones that I'm the most concerned about.
Yucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Even in my own life, I don't think I'm ever going to get to a point where I feel completely comfortable. I'm like this morning. For me, fuck, man. Once my brain does like a revolution on a topic, regardless of the time of day, I'm done. I just got to get out of bed. So today I'm up at like 4 o'clock, which is not my normal time.
It's really early.
Sometimes I'll set my alarm.
What's your morning routine?
I'll tell you. Well, sometimes I set my alarm at 4 just so I can go back to sleep and appreciate how much more sleep I'm going to get. It's the anti-Jocko. I don't take a picture of my watch. I look at my watch and go, fuck this, and I go back to bed.
I have something very similar.
So my morning, but to finish what I was saying, my mind does a revolution. I'm thinking about the coffee shop. Like I was thinking about personal goals, professional goals, and the next thing you know, I'm staring at the fucking ceiling at 4:30. Just get up and start working on something. Morning routine, I generally don't wake up to an alarm clock, but I can't sleep in very well.
Okay.
I'm usually up before, especially in the winter months, before the light starts coming up. So
you wake up before 9. That's good.
Like in the 7 o'clock hour, generally.
That's a good time.
Like if I try to shut it down, I'm going to be up by about 8. I used to go straight for coffee. And then this dickhead, Huberman Labs, was fucking fantastic podcast. And I hate him because everything that I like to do, he tells me I shouldn't.
Yeah. So now you do what? Water, lemon, salt.
I don't get crazy. He says,
that's not crazy. Water, lemon, salt?
That's a lot of steps.
Okay. What do you do?
Ton of steps. Might as well add caviar to that, too, while I'm at it.
7:30 caviar.
God. I'd be like,
come on, man.
7:32 ab workout. Just
it's not that. You don't eat a lot of it, too. Dude, you eat like a couple little spoonfuls. It's like a tasty little treat.
No. Absolutely. That's a hard pass. I do water first. Like a cup of water.
Okay.
Like probably about that much. I don't know what that is. 16 ounces.
What does that do?
I don't know, but he said wait to have caffeine because I believe it's one of the hormones that you are coming out of as you are coming out of sleep. It allows it to naturally exit your body as opposed to just throttling it with caffeine.
I see what you're doing. So how long is the drive from my house when I drink the water to Black Rifle Coffee? Is that what you're saying?
It's 32 minutes.
Okay, so I should wait 32 minutes to drink coffee?
It's up to you. What I have found is that you get more out of the coffee, like from a benefit perspective, by not, because I used to pretty much get out of bed and go right to the coffee pot and just turn it on. It's a little bit of a break, and I also find that I feel like I need caffeine a little bit less later in the day. I have no understanding of the mechanism at place, but he does talk about it at a level that I can barely understand. And usually, I mean, it varies on my day. Like today, I was at the shop before 9 o'clock. Tomorrow I'll be there at opening at probably 6 a.m. or 5:30.
Oh, wow. Are you making the coffee? I hope so.
I know how to make like two things. There's
Okay.
a button on there that says latte, and I'm aware of how to pour coffee out of like the big carafes, the
Okay.
black coffee.
Okay.
It's probably best that I don't do that. To be honest with you, I'll probably go there tomorrow and like clean the bathroom and empty the garbage.
All right. I like that.
I am a huge believer that you should never ask somebody to do something you wouldn't do yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, and I also don't want. It's an interesting balance. It's the first time I've been in this position where I'm owning a business and we have a manager that's in between, and she's spectacular, the best hire we could have ever had. I need people to understand they work for her, not for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to interrupt anything she has going on. She has full autonomy to run the place the way that she is. Great job on the hiring process, the training, like we're ready to go. But I also want to be there so people know that like I'm willing to do anything that you are being asked to do with as well. I think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to be an absentee boss, but I also don't want to run a coffee shop.
Yeah,
if
you're
that
not owner operator. You're just owner.
Yeah.
You're like the celebrity face of it.
I don't think so. You're the celebrity of the valley. You and your wife.
No, don't say that.
What are you talking about? I've seen the parades they do for you guys.
They don't do parades. Those are the cops chasing me when I'm running.
Have you
That's
got
not a parade.
plates on the back of your truck yet?
No. I have it on the back, not on the front. I don't
Yeah.
do front plates. Bah.
I was able to make it for a year.
Ooh, I got a sticker. I got some kind of sticker on my truck. My assistant put a sticker on.
Of like a rabbit, or what are we talking
So
about?
in the airport, you know how the right side's really congested?
Yes.
Our airport's out of control right now, by the way.
It's in,
Because it's like growing and packed. So I got a sticker that allows me to go on the left side,
the left side.
where only like limos and stuff can pick up.
Really?
So like over there where you see like
Oh, you mean the second lane over?
no, you know the median, the little
Yeah.
median there, and there's that little. I can park over there now.
Oh, I just go over there.
Well, that's not legal. You're a lawbreaker.
Who's going to enforce it?
That security guard that walks around.
He says, go on. And then I do. I do a lap and I come right back.
So I don't have to go on. I can sit there.
Okay. What's the sticker look like?
I can show you. I'll send you a photo. Or just next time you're looking, when you're in my truck.
Yeah, we already seen your truck already today.
I know.
It's hard to miss.
And you saw my truck, and what did I say? I was like, I'm already in your building because, you know.
It's true. You
Yeah.
could have just walked up the stairs. You've been here before.
Well, I didn't want to do that. I felt like I was imposing.
Okay. So has the coaching group been more rewarding than you thought it would be?
Yes. It's a wavelength for me. It's ups and downs. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I should be doing this, and other times I feel absolutely amazing. I think it's time to change the structure. So I have this really big plan to change it, which I'm not telling you right now.
Yeah.
But you'll see soon.
Well, unpack what you have now in case people are interested.
Okay, so essentially it's a weekly call. It's called Clear, Calculated, and Vicious, right? And I think that the main thing that I want to be all the time is vicious, right? Like you know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it. You can do it aggressively. So if we sum it up as like running, right? If I said, hey, Andy, go outside and run, you'd be like, okay.
I'd say no, but
we'll
we'll play along
but you
with
play
your story.
along with me, right?
I'd say, dearest Rob, how far should I run and how fast?
Yeah, and you'd be like, I'm not wearing the right shoes. How far do I need to run? I'm wearing jeans. I think you're wearing jeans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing jeans. Like, I'm not really prepared. So you'd go outside and you'd sort of like jog, no idea which way you're going, right? So what we want to get you to a point in time is like, you know the day before what you're showing up and doing. So you get your running shoes. I mean, shit, man, you could have been practicing running for 6 months. Know you're running a 40. Know you're being timed, what you should wear. Like, you can attack that project. So I have friends that do that. I have instances where that's how I operate in life. Like, I'm just like, yes, answers are clear. I can take action. I can correct. I can do the damn thing. But a lot of people can't do that because they're overwhelmed because we're all on Instagram. It's like, should I trade crypto or make NFTs, or should I be a content creator, or should I start a YouTube channel, or should I be a
Constant
sponsored
comparison
athlete
to other people.
So you're just a mess, right? And I think a lot of people just sit back and watch life go by and they don't know what to do. So what we do is we try to get you to a point in time where you can act viciously and you know exactly why you're doing it. So we start out by dreaming, which is fun, right? Which we all sort of lost that trait at 18 years old when we were like, stop dreaming, you can't be an astronaut. Go do something else.
It's like you were told it was unreasonable
Exactly.
to have like a lofty
Exactly.
goal that is unattainable.
And like breaks your heart a little bit, breaks your
Yeah.
spirits, and gets beat out of you. And then you just watch everyone else do all their stuff. So the first thing we do is dream, right? And I don't like to define people's dreams. So your dream could be make $1 billion or start a podcast or just be a better father. I don't know, like whatever your dream is, just pick something. And then the next step is we get really, really clear on that dream, right? Like we can close our eyes, we can see it, we know what we're doing. Like being a better father, for example, really wide spectrum. right? But it's like, well, no, being a better father to me is like, I wish I had 2 days not with my phone where I could travel with my kids or something, whatever that is. And then the next step is you have to get calculated, right? So obviously, if you could do that, you would be doing that. But the calculated step is sort of where you need to get your ducks in a row. You need to make sure that like, okay, cool. If I want 2 days off, then maybe I need to work 4 10s, or maybe whatever you need to do to make that happen, right? So we set non-negotiables, we set up your morning routine, who you need to be to show up to be able to do the thing. And then the next one is ideally put you in a position where you're able to act viciously, right? You know who you need to be, you know what time you need to wake up, you know all those things. You're not just looking at life and guessing and missing out. So I run that little program for myself on everything. And sometimes I go right from dreaming right to vicious and I take action. But then sometimes it's a little more muddy, or when I'm taking action and acting viciously, it's not as easy. And I'm like, ooh, I should go back and get a little bit more clear on what this dream looks like, so I can set better rules, better non-negotiables for myself, and then I can come back and then act vicious. So I sort of help people through that. And then monthly, I also share like my wins and losses of things that I'm doing and failing at and mistakes I'm making, and try to add as much value as possible.
Yeah. I think it's a really good process for people to go through. I'm thinking in my head as you're talking about, just being calculated, setting non-negotiables. I don't think most people sit down and reflect like that and have those conversations. I think most people, and I'm as guilty as this sometimes as well, it's like the 1% of your time that you just kind of allow to dissipate throughout your day. And the next thing you know, you look at your screen time in your phone, you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually embarrassed to talk about how much time I've spent on my phone. Why is it that number that big? That clearly
so
can't be
you got to
the
do it
case.
while you're driving. That's what I do.
Of course. I've seen you text and drive many times. That's why you never see me. Every time I see
Yeah.
you drive, you're just like this. You're just like,
Doing great, man. I'm watching movies and stuff. That's when I get all my content in. I don't do well operating on emotion, right? So
I don't think anybody does, for clarity.
no, they don't. But I think that I love like my passionate emotional balance. It's what allows me to be a great artist. Like if you asked me like, Rob, what are you? Like I'm an artistic designer. That's what I am. And then everything is an expression of that. So like when I make music, I don't think I'm a musician. I'm just yelling, but I'm designing songs for people to consume that feel good, that accomplish a goal, right? When I'm designing apparel, like, am I the best apparel designer? No, but like I understand my role in all these different things that I do. And part of that is like my emotional fucking tornado that I go through, right? So if I don't set non-negotiables for myself, I make decisions based on where I'm at in that tornado. So if I'm like a complete angry mess and someone's like, hey man, want to do a shot of vodka? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's rage. Right? And then next thing you know, I'm like gone. So like if I need to set a rule for myself, be like, I only drink vodka on Fridays and Saturdays. And then it's an easy decision, right? I mean, the same thing as intermittent fasting. That's why it works for everybody, is because like, I only eat between 2 and 8. It's like, well, yeah, your diet's going to work because all the other hours you're like not trying to make a decision what to eat. Yeah. You're just in your fasting window. So I have to set those rules for myself. And I think that the average person has never even thought about like what their guidelines for life are.
Or what they would be willing to give up to be successful. I think it's actually essential that you are passionate and emotional. Like if you didn't feel that way about the things that you did, I don't think you'd be as successful. I think the mistake that people will make, and again, I'm as guilty of this as anybody, is that let that emotion, you get to a decision-making point and you make it emotionally instead of objectively. But what you're talking about, being calculated about it and looking through the steps, parsing the emotion away from that and just looking at what actually has to be accomplished, that's the path to success more times than not. Not that every time you make an emotional decision you're going to be wrong, but I've made some doozies.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because it's not always like you said passionate about the thing. It's like, oh, the other side of my tornado is when I want to like burn everything to the ground.
How often do you go through that cycle?
Every day. Every single day. Like multiple times a day, I'm like, I should set everything on fire and leave. And like my wife has to deal with that. Like yesterday, I was like,
what would you do if you did that though?
What do you mean?
Where would you go? And what would you do with your time?
Live in a van.
Doing what?
I don't know. Starting trouble.
You would be bored out of your mind. I'd give you 36 hours before
I'd start
you're
projects
bored.
Everywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
It would just be a hard reset to do more things.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You would be like, I'm going to disappear. And then immediately as you were in your van, you'd get like 6 miles down the road and buy a warehouse.
Yeah. I'm not saying I would do nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I love warehouses. That was the whole clear, calculated, and vicious thing is like I'm realizing that when I was 6 years old, I watched Ninja Turtles. I think I've told you this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And I saw Shredder's like warehouse full of kids smoking cigarettes, playing arcade games, and I didn't have that. And I was like, oh my God, one day I want to have a warehouse. And now I'm like coming on 40. I'm like, I have that. We don't smoke cigarettes inside, but that's the only thing that's different.
Do you have video games in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Like full arcade games?
No. I
Missed
can't really
opportunity.
find any around here.
That is true.
Yeah.
There are some things that are tougher to find.
Everything's tougher to find out here.
Not snow.
So we can find snow. We have that. It's coming down right now.
Which, thank you, whoever does the forecast here. I woke up to like 4 inches, which I'm not arguing about at all because I love going snowboarding, but
You watch the forecast?
I check it every once in a while
Really?
to like figure out what I'm going to wear. I'm glad I did because yesterday was -7. I rolled outside of
So you wear different outfits?
for temperature, not
Really?
fashion. Yeah, how do you know when you're going to wear a jacket?
I just wear the same thing every day.
All right.
I wear that jacket. I wear the jacket on the floor next to me, and I just wear this outfit.
Okay.
And then if it gets
Very
hot,
Steve Jobs.
if I get hot, I take the jacket off.
Okay. It's very Steve Jobs.
So like, what did you do different yesterday compared to today?
Thicker jacket. Different shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Different shoes?
Yeah. Actually, my shoes yesterday were less appropriate for the weather. I was wearing Vans. Today I'm wearing a thicker boot. It doesn't have to make sense.
Okay.
Just let me live my life
You're like
the way that I want to.
-15, get the Vans. I'm just trying to figure out, like, because it's
Good
just
luck with that.
it's just winter in Montana.
Which actually, people will be mad at us who live in Montana. It's not that bad. I think that they leverage the winter to talk people out of moving here.
So I
that's
just tell
the number
people,
one talking
I just tell
point.
people we have no resources. I'm like, do you like internet? Don't have it. Do you like DoorDash? Don't have it. Do you like Uber? Don't have it. Do you like restaurants with staff? Don't have it. Do you like
to a degree, all of those things are true.
Anything convenient? We don't have it.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what we do have, though?
What?
Peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Especially on Sundays when you're looking for DoorDash or Uber or restaurant with staff.
There's nothing, man. There's nothing. You just got to cook at your house. It's fine. I like this life.
On Sundays, I have seen tumbleweeds going down Main Street. It's just like, did everybody just get up and go to a different state?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
What's the Lord's Day?
For some people. Specifically, that guy who holds that really long sign up at the corner of the park.
I like his commitment.
I appreciate his commitment. He needs to use a bigger font. I'm trying to read what he's telling me, and I can't get through it all. He also flips
He wants
it too
you to
fast.
stop.
Has he ever approached you on the street and yelled at you?
I don't go to the streets.
You had to have been on the street today to walk from where you parked to where we are.
For a moment.
That's where he has encountered me, is on that corner
Really?
where your truck is at. I was walking with Mike Glover, and he came up and yelled at us, "Do you want to buy an ICBM missile?" And Glover goes,
He said what?
"An ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile." Apparently that guy has
He sells them.
I don't know what he was expecting as a response, because when Mike said, "I'm certainly interested," he didn't have a follow-up. So
No, I've never talked to that guy.
I've never willingly talked to him either. He's had a chat with me
I'm
a
down,
few
though.
times. It's more like a radio game where you're on receive only.
Is he over? They roped off the pavilion over there too.
I think that's the city's interim solution to the homeless people that were sleeping in the pavilion, which I will say, I mean, the winter here is real, and damn.
It's not a good place to be homeless.
No, it's not.
There's better places to live.
I would go for a more temperate environment,
Yeah.
for sure. Or also do everything that you possibly can to not be homeless would probably be a good start as
Those
well.
are both good options.
Yeah. You still flying?
No,
You have an airplane.
I know, and it just sits in my hangar.
Did you just run out of time? Because
I'm complete. No,
currency is the biggest issue.
I'm current. Don't you dare.
Okay.
I'm current. Let me think.
You just told me that you haven't been flying, but
I haven't
you're current.
flown in 3 months.
Then you're not current.
Really?
Well, you tell me, Mr. Private Pilot, what are the requirements for currency? Take off
So
and landing both day and night.
So I know that I have a lot of things. I actually got my logbooks from my hangar last night because I don't think I'm current because of my insurance.
Okay.
They just have a hard time insuring me because of my airplane.
Do they think that the airplane
I have 120 hours.
and your airplane is high performance?
Yes. And they're like,
Okay.
why do you have this? And I'm like, because I like it sitting in my hangar. So no, I haven't. I'm trying to, I pictured myself getting my pilot's license and then flying myself everywhere.
You would need to get your instrument rating on top of that.
Yes. And then I was like, wait, I need to do more of this? Not really interested. So that's sort of evolved into, I think I need a CJ2.
CJ2? Okay.
And then a full-time pilot. Because the problem is I'm flying to places so fast that if I fly myself there, I'll just be exhausted from flying, especially in a little airplane where I'm getting my ass kicked over the mountains.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, wait, never mind.
CJ2s are a good airplane, so I'm typed in that plane. I have a couple hundred hours in.
You can fly me.
No. I also have things that I need to do also.
Like what? Sleep till 7:30?
Maybe 8. Let's not put boundaries on things.
You got to clean the bathrooms.
Garbage. Yeah. Coffee at some point.
Drink water.
Before coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep trying to tell people that the main ingredient in coffee is water, and they just are not getting on board.
I didn't say thank you for this. I think I just went right.
Michael got that. He cares.
I said thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
I told him this is the last day he brings non-Black Rifle coffee, though, or he's going to get a
What is
slap
this?
in. I don't know. Where did you get it from, Michael?
Let's give them a plug since you're going to put everyone out of business.
Yeah, Copper Mountain Coffee.
Oh, Copper Mountain.
They make good coffee.
Yeah.
I've had it many times.
Good.
Good luck.
You're not. Good luck. Jeez, man. These poor little. I can't wait.
Copper Mountain's
I can't
great.
wait until the day. You know who you should find in the parking lot is Cowgirl Coffee. Get all the Cowgirl Coffee girls versus you in the park in the whore lot. Whore lot?
It could be the whore lot. What would be the purpose of said fight, though? Just
see
to
who the-
establish dominance?
Yeah.
We know who the victor will be.
I mean, you don't. How many? Okay, so this is that like. Would you rather fight like 11 ducks or whatever? You know,
What is it's
Would you-
100
so-
one. What is it? One bear-sized duck or
There you go.
100 duck-sized bears or some shit like that. I totally fucked that up.
It's fine, but I
the
get
essence
it.
of it.
So
is in
let's
there.
let's do this. One you.
Yeah.
How many Cowgirl Coffees do you think there are? There's probably a lot of girls.
Well, they're in the little kiosks, which
Yeah.
is a great model. You want to talk about low overhead, high
Oh,
margin?
100%. And they're
Yeah.
very nice because when I go there, they smile at me. They know my name. When I go, I see you.
You never see me, for clarity.
Okay. I'm imagining I'm going to. I'm picturing you in an apron that says Black Rifle
Oh
on
God,
it.
no! You don't want to see that. Your coffee order is going to come out super fucked up.
Okay.
You want somebody who's
You're not
there-
selling me on going to it.
Oh no! I'm selling you on not ordering
there's
coffee
people-
from me.
Okay.
There's a full
Let's
trained
stop
staff.
dodging the question. All right. So there's probably
Half dozen.
There's more than that.
I was just throwing a number out
So you could
there.
fight a half dozen 20-year-old girls.
At the same time.
Yeah, of course, dude. That's how this is working.
Do I get a baseball bat with nails
You
sticking
don't get
out of it?
anything. What?
What type of fight? Is it to the death?
Yeah.
All of them at the same time?
There's probably 12. Let's say 12. A dozen. A baker's dozen.
Fuck. Am I barefoot?
You're wearing your Vans. And I don't know what the weather is that day since I know you're going to ask.
No one knows.
Okay, good.
It's hit or miss.
I'm glad you answered that. I was trying to get you to be like, I could kill 12, 20-year-old girls in Vans in about 13 minutes. Like,
Listen,
my
man.
God, you're a monster.
Numbers are real. Like, people think that fighting is magic, and it's like, no. It's
I don't think I could. 20 of them?
No.
Ugh.
I think I could outrun them, though.
Well, you're
Which
fenced into the parking lot.
I can go over fences.
Well, then you forfeit.
Here's rule number one with any type of violent confrontation.
Avoid before it happens.
Don't get into it.
Yeah.
If 12 coffee girls wanted to fight me, I'd be like, look at the spaceship over there. And when they turned around, I'd be like, poof.
That's the best outcome to that.
100%.
Because
Violence
even if you
fucking
hit one of
hurts.
them, ugh.
People think, well, they watch
Well,
too
the
much
optics
TV.
of it, of you hitting a coffee girl in a parking lot would be...
Hey, we're living in your fantasy. You laid out this scenario. So,
Well, I needed answers.
okay.
I needed answers.
No, avoid violence at all costs.
Yeah, that's what I do.
At all costs.
Everyone thinks I don't want any violence in my life.
Even winning fights hurts.
Yeah.
That's a point that I think is often glossed over.
And there's the legal system, which is always a surprise.
I want no part of that. Yeah, you might be criminally innocent and then welcome to civil court. And, oh, what is it you do for a living?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the government takes you.
Yeah, how about your stuff is somebody else's stuff now? I'm not interested in that shit at all.
Let's not do that.
Yeah. I can run fast, though.
How fast can you run?
Faster than anybody you've ever met.
Really?
No, I have no idea. Not
Oh,
fast.
I wanted to race you.
I think I could take you.
You think so?
What distance?
Any distance, you tell me.
10 miles.
Ooh. I forget what my 10-mile time is. 10 miles, like right now.
How much time do we have, Michael?
I'm pretty heavy.
Think we could take one of these cameras off
the
the
boss.
10 miles.
Let's take it easy. 10 hours. That's
10
at least
miles.
Yeah.
I could definitely run 10 miles. I don't know how long it would take me. Ooh, that'd be just a
It
battle
would take
of
me
fucking balls.
just less time than you. That's all I know.
Can you pick a lower, like...
No, because you're bigger than me and stronger and probably faster over short distance, so I have to wear you down.
Can we just do a mile?
No, so here's what I used to do. I have a really good friend named John Wellborn who played offensive line. He's a large man, and he is the quickest person I've ever seen over like 40 yards. So we would do workouts together, and he'd always want to be like, hey, let's do this sprint. And I'd say, okay, but in the next round, we're going to do a 400-meter lap because I would need to get ahead of him on the longer stuff, which is the same strategy I'd have to go with for you.
But a mile is a long time.
No, 10.
10 miles.
If you're going to make me, actually it should be 12. You're going to make me fight 12 coffee girls?
No, that was an imagination thing. This is real life.
We're going to have to create a new YouTube series.
We
called
should race. We should
Andy
race.
versus
Can
Rob.
who sets that up?
Michael could be
Yeah,
the
I'll take care
commissioner.
of it.
Let's do this. Let's do let's do best out of 3.
Okay.
So we can do
Activities or just running?
What? We're not. Let's think. I was just gonna say running. So we'll do like a sprint,
Okay.
and then I'll tear my hamstring and be over. And then the next one, it can be like a mile, right? And then it can be a longer distance.
All of that sounds like just shit.
So you're just opting out, just like jumping over the fence,
No, I
running
mean,
from confrontation.
I
again.
know that I would dominate in all aspects, but it just feels like it would hurt.
I met your friend. We should talk about that.
That's a crazy segue, but continue. Who are you talking
I'm just
about?
changing. I met your friend Miles.
Dasher.
Yeah.
It is amazing to me that he is sponsored by an energy drink because he needs absolutely no additional energy whatsoever.
No. So I spend a lot of time in the Delta Lounge in Salt Lake City, as I'm sure you do.
As I do.
And I sat there, and I normally try to sit in the corner so everyone just leaves me alone. Not that I'm
Same.
getting like flocked, but I just don't want interaction with people. I like everyone ignoring me. So I keep my hat low.
First off, though, how awesome is that new lounge at the Salt Lake City airport?
Is that new?
Yeah, well, the whole airport's within like 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought there was like a newer one that I didn't know
The
about.
upstairs. I think
Yeah.
it's a nice one.
So I saw a guy sit down. He's wearing white Oakleys inside. And I was like, that guy looks interesting. Huh. Okay. But that was my extent of my thought. And then the next day I was in the lounge again because that's how my flight schedule is. So I'm sitting in the lounge. He walks up. He's like, you were in here yesterday. I was like, whoa, that's the guy with the white Oakleys. And I was like, yeah, I was in here yesterday. He's like,
Was he wearing a
"Nice,
Red Bull
nice."
hat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Red Bulled out.
100%.
All white and red and but he told me nothing about himself. So he's like asking me questions, and I'm trying not to give him too much information, just because I don't like that. And then if I'm like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I'm like a professional skydiver guy. I just jump out of airplanes and stuff. I was like, what? He's like, I just, so what's your name? I was like, Miles. I was like, you know my friend Andy? I was like, oh, dude, Andy's amazing. I was like, there we go. There we go. And I think I texted you or sent you a photo. Yeah.
So Miles is the guy who taught me how to base jump.
Yeah.
I had been skydiving for well over a decade. And I forget how I got a wild hair up my ass to go base jumping. But the skydiving world is not large. You want to talk about like niche markets?
Yeah.
Fuck, it's small and insular. And the woman who owned the gear store where I skydive used to be up, I think it was in the Tahoe area, which is where Miles used to jump. So I did this weird, hey, do you have an old email? Reached out to him blind. He's like, yeah, I'll teach you. Meet me at the Perrine Bridge in the parking lot at this date and time. And I roll out I had seen videos of the guy. I don't know if you ever watched the documentary McConkey.
No.
It's, spoiler alert, he's no longer alive, but he died base jumping. Base jumping is dangerous enough. He was doing a wingsuit ski base. So he was in a wingsuit.
Wait, I've seen the other ski, but I've never seen wingsuit.
So he was in a set of he was a world-class skier.
Okay.
He was in a set of skis while wearing a wingsuit with a base jumping parachute on, I think in Italy.
So he had all the things.
But his plan was, and he had done it many times before, is oftentimes he would go off and do backflips. And he had the type of ski binding where you could pull up to, and I don't know a lot about ski bindings, but I guess on most you push down to eject it.
Okay.
So he had 2 toggles and you could pull them up. It would eject the skis. He would then fly in his wingsuit, open his parachute.
Okay.
It's like a really weird fusion meal, right? Where you got a lot of shit going on.
It's caviar and Pringles.
Very many of those things, they're all like equally kind of dangerous in their own thing, but you should watch that movie because Miles learned how to base jump at the same time. He is all over it, and he is Well, you met him. He is exactly like that.
He's incredible.
He is. I don't know where he is right now, but he's stoked about life.
He could be anywhere. He's in his backyard. He's on skis. I follow him on Instagram now, so I watch all his stuff. And he's on skis with one of those fans that you put on your back.
It's a powered parachute.
Powered parachute, which I'm at the top of the weight limit for, they told me. So I have to like diet down to get one, which is disappointing.
You don't need one.
Why?
You have an airplane that you don't fly. Let's start there.
All right.
I'm just saying.
You're bumming me out, man. So he's on skis in his backyard in the snow, and then he starts it, and then he flies away.
Yeah.
And he like flies away and weaves through trees.
Yeah, he takes off from his backyard.
He's a madman. I love it.
I actually looked right before you showed up. I know where he is. He's on a Delta flight right now, on his way to Seoul, which is then he's on his way to Malaysia. There's a KL Tower base jumping event every year. They make this building legal, and all day long, guys are just up and off that thing.
So you're saying I'm not allowed to do any of that because I have an airplane I don't fly?
No, I'm not saying you're not. You can do whatever you want to do, but you're looking getting another like flying device.
I love things.
Yes, but you're not using the thing you currently have.
That's fine.
Okay.
I like having things.
Okay, so you're going to be non-current at 2 flying things.
You don't have to get current at that thing, do you?
I would recommend it.
So I talked to these guys in Utah. That's what sort of steered me away. They were talking about coming up to help me, and they're like, yeah, you just sort of got to take it serious. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, I mean, this year's been a light year on deaths, but there's been 6 guys that have died. And I was like, wait, how many people do this thing?
12.
That half of them died. All right, I don't want to do it, man.
So it's a wing. Think of it like your airplane. And, if you went a few months without flying, you get back in the cockpit and you're like, normally if like you're super current, you're reaching for switches and you're just doing stuff.
What's going on. Yeah.
You get 30, 60, 90, 120 days. You get a little bit rusty. Parachutes, they're not the same type of wing, but the characteristics are the same. So you have to treat them with the same level of respect. So, things can get...
Well, luckily, I'm too heavy anyway, so it's just a dream.
Yeah. But Miles is one of my favorite people. So I meet him at the bridge, and he jumps out, Red Bull head to toe. I'm like, hello, you must be Mr. Dasher. I had borrowed a buddy's fucking base jumping parachute that he had packed. And I don't know how long ago he had packed.
Okay.
Miles takes a look at it, like he pops the pins off and just like looks in. And at the time, I didn't know much. And even now, it's probably still questionable that he did that. He's like, oh, it looks good. He's like, I'll jump this one. You can jump this one that I had packed. I think I was off that bridge within an hour of meeting him. And then for 7 days, we just jumped our ass off. I hit him up when it was total random timing, but it was just me and him.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to know him. And then he shepherded me into the sport. I did my first wingsuit jumps with him out of airplanes. He took me to Italy, where we went together and jumped off Monte Brento together. That was my first cliff that I had jumped off, and then into the Lauterbrunnen Valley in Switzerland. He fucking yodels as he's wingsuit flying. You can hear him in the air.
Really?
Oh, I'm not even going to try to approximate what he sounds like. But yeah, he's been doing that. He has probably got close to 6,000 base jumps at this point.
That's a lot.
Well, for a while, he was the guy who had the most base jumps out of anybody on the face of the planet.
Someone beat him?
There are first jump courses at the Perrine Bridge, so it's completely legal. It's actually weird to have cops like pull over and be like, hey, man, you going to do a double backflip? Like,
oh, weird.
No. As opposed to like chasing after you.
Yeah.
So there is a guy there named Sean Chuma, who I don't know as well, but I've had nothing but fantastic interactions with. And he is just every day at the bridge jumping. So I think he surpassed Miles pure numbers-wise.
Is that all he does then?
He does it professionally. He teaches. So he's there teaching or jumping himself. You can get 7 to 10 jumps there per day if you wanted to. It's a jump, like a 10 to 15-minute hike, depending on how fast you want to get after it. Those guys can pack a base jumping parachute in a ridiculously fast amount of time.
Because you just sort of like, is that when you jump and throw?
It depends. You can. So it's 486 feet from the railing.
Okay.
I think it's impact in like 4.1, 4.2. So you need to be kind of Johnny on the spot with it. Most people are pulling it about the 2-second range.
That's weird. I don't really.
It's wild. You can spit. You use your spit as a wind indicator, and you can see where it lands. And you can have an experience in your head where you consider what it would look like if you landed where your spit landed.
Okay. All right. Fine. I won't get one of them. I won't get the propeller on my back.
That's a powered parachute. I was talking about.
I won't get a powered parachute.
It's good. I think your life will be better by not.
All right. I have to send my plane in for an oil change. I know that. I need to figure out how to keep insurance. And then I'm going to hit up my instructor. And because I'm probably I'm most definitely up. I don't remember the last time I flew,
Okay.
but I know that I've been busy.
Do you want to keep that plane, or do you think you'll level up to the CJ2?
I'm going to try to trade it up as my down payment.
Okay.
I don't have that much money. I have money, but I don't have like buying a private jet money. So I'll have to get like a payment plan.
I don't operate in circles of that money at all, but from talking to people, most of the people that I know at net worth like that, they're not liquid like that anyway. It's not like, hey, I look at this account with this massive number in it. It's just pressed out into
I would
a
try to
variety of things.
put that plane as my down payment. Put the TTX as the down payment.
Yeah, and then you would need, so a CJ2 could be single pilot, so you could get it.
Yep.
You could always fly right. So you could find a guy who is probably a corporate pilot and a flight instructor.
Yeah, that was my plan.
Yeah, you could
if I could find that magic dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable salary for somebody like that. Yeah, you could do it for sure.
Yeah.
And then you could land and not be exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I did some business travel when I had access to an airplane where you fly and then you are doing business. You can generally survive, like you're doing okay when you fly there and do your business. It's the flight home.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I'm pretty fucking tired.
Yeah, I took Dana on a trip the other day, and like we went somewhere, got there, was like super excited, and then when I was flying home, I was like, whoa, I am rocked.
You'd
and
think you wouldn't be able to fall asleep.
No, I wasn't falling asleep.
No, but I mean, like, or even just like stop paying attention. You'd think that's not possible. Oh, it's possible.
Yeah, and I came in for the landing, and I was like, wait a second. I'm like, because you don't realize you've been sitting in the chair for 3 hours, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, am I not ready to land an airplane? Hold on a second. Yeah. You know, there's not really there is second chances, but not real second chances.
Pretty high consequence environment.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you the most fired up right now about business-wise?
So...
Because you are quite diversified.
Yeah. So I'm trying to simplify my life. So I had a conversation with a friend a couple months ago, and he was talking about all the different things I was doing, and then he made fun of me. Right. And he
sounds like a good friend.
Yeah. And he was like, so tell me everything you do. And it was the first time we talked. And I was like, I do this, I do this, and I do this, and I do this, I do this. And well, I'll say his name, it'll make more sense. So Alex Hermosi. And then he was like, you know what we should start is a nose strip company, because I wear nose strips all the time. And I was like, wait, really? You want to start a nose strip company with me? He was like, yeah, that's just what you need. Have another business that can make just a little bit of money to distract yourself from everything else. And I was like, fuck, you're making fun of me right now. It took me a second. And he asked me, and he was like, what, like with you, the age you are and how much you're running around, he's like, if you could snap your fingers and just have the apparel line, just have Flagner Fail, like how long do you think you could surpass doing 10 businesses just by doing one? I was like, oh my God, if I could focus all on one thing, probably 6 months. I was like, why don't you just do that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm sort of defined by doing all these different things and being spread thin. And I'm like used to this pace. He's like, yeah, but are you happy with this pace? I'm like, no, I wish I could focus more. So my big thing now is I'm just trying to consolidate. So like any brands that I have, I'm trying to sell actively. Other things I'm just looking to streamline, get off my plate, hire people, and then go all in on the apparel.
Are you the single point of failure for Flag North Fail?
For everything. Yeah.
Is that intentional, or do you have a hard time?
So I think one of the problems is we live in Montana, and I'm not a good like boss or leader. I'm just not good at that, right? I was actually like looking today, like seriously hiring a coach to help me with it. I'm just not good at it, right? I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to manage. So a lot of times it's very hard to work for me. And I've realized that's that tornado, right? That's that passionate tornado. So when someone's working with me, they get to see that entire thing, which I think is my magic, but they see it and it's just like, whoa, life is crazy. So the big thing I'm doing now is I'm going to start a satellite office somewhere else other than Montana, because I don't want to keep relocating people here, because I've done that for a while now. Oh, you want a job? Cool. We'll move you to Montana, and then that's how you see if it works out. So like 2 months in, you're like, shit, like this isn't working. Now what? There's this person that now lives here. So I'm going to start a satellite office somewhere else, and I'm really excited for that, because I can like build the infrastructure. It'll be remote, but it won't be like super remote where there's people all over the world. It'll be like a singular remote, and then ideally I'll have a plane where I can fly back and forth.
Have you considered moving to more of an owner as opposed to owner-operator role yourself?
Yes, I just haven't been able to find the right person.
Who are you teaching right now to do your job?
No one.
That's not good, Rob.
Is this like an intervention right now?
Not at all. I'm just curious.
So I think that like my job is not as much of a CEO as a like passionate artist designer. And that's the role that I want to do. So
Yeah.
if I did hire anyone, I'd hire a CEO. Because that's the job. I don't have any interest in that, right? Like I want to create. And it's taken me a long time to realize that because I got caught up in the business owner thing. I'm like, ooh, I want to own this and own this and own this. It's like, no. I don't want to, I want to create that. I don't want to figure out how to run it. I want to like create brands.
I know quite a few people actually who have expressed exactly what you just did. Like as they were ascending or growing, whether it be in notoriety or the value of their brand, they got to a point where they had to step into the CEO role and they became fucking miserable.
It's not what I want. Yeah.
And then a few of them have even said they want to go back to what was the word? COO? It was like an idea officer. It was like kind of like a made up term, but
officer. Okay. CIO? I've never even heard of that, but
yeah, essentially
like,
they wanted to go back to being able to be creative.
Yeah.
Because the business aspect it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's like they felt like they were in a wood chipper being just shoved in an inch at a time.
And I think that's the last few years I haven't realized it, right? Because I was never able to truly express myself creatively without starting my own business. Because I don't like working for people, just like everyone else in the world. So I figured out like, ooh, I can start these brands that then I can create the branding package, do on my own thing. And then they get to a certain point in time and it's like, oh, this is the not fun part. So then I would start another brand. And that's why I have all of these brands. And they all do great, right? Like they buy me airplanes and like they all work. And I could be happy with just one of them. But that's the big thing is I really want to shoot my shot and test myself with one brand, right? So I'm just slowly trying to offboard essentially everything. And when I say offboard, it's not all sell. Like some of them's like, no, let's hire these positions to take care of that stuff so I can not be owner operator and just owner.
Well, that's why I asked you, like teach, a rule of thumb that I've heard used frequently, and it was used in my old job. If you're not teaching 3 people how to do your job, you're failing in your role as either a manager or a leader.
Yeah.
Because those are actually 2 very different things. But yeah, for me, it's tough too, because I want to have complete and total control. And then you realize I'm tapped out at a certain number of hours in the day. Like there's no way you can allocate a certain
not enough caffeine.
It's not enough caffeine, and quite frankly, there's not enough time. Like if you're running a half a dozen businesses, fucking good luck.
And that's why I just want to create, because I also love following directions. Like I grew up playing sports and like I like people telling me like do this. It's like, cool, watch this.
You think you could find a CEO that you'd be willing to take direction from?
That's the thing is I've been in the other world so long now, right? Like it would have to be an interesting working relationship. That's why it's such a unique position, right? Because I'd have to have a lot of trust in them. And then I also wouldn't be able to just completely take orders because it is like my child brand, right? But when
It'd be a tenuous balance.
Yeah. When I said that like I'm a designer and artist, it took me a long time to realize that. Because for a long time I was like, I'm a businessman, right? Because that's like, and
looks good on a resume.
And the more I said it, the more I was like, I'm not a businessman. Like that's not who I'm a creator. Like I'm a designer. And once I figured out I was stepping into roles like that, so I just started a band called Land and Ammo, right? Which is like American folk music, but I'm yelling. So it's like an interesting take on it.
As you do with your music.
Yeah, I like yelling. Yelling is my favorite, man. I really, really like it. So with the band Land and Ammo, our first like big writing recording session, I walked into it saying, I'm a designer. Like you're the musician. My boy Jake is, a beautiful songwriter. But I can come in and design the song. So when I realized I'm stepping in as a designer, all of a sudden we were making really dope music because I'm understanding tempo changes and like sort of what the consumer is going to get from a design standpoint. And then like you handle the real music, right? So I've been trying to step into things once I realized my role, right? And I think coaching actually helped with that, is realizing like, I'm not an expert on that. And I'm fine with that, but push it somewhere else. And like, I can be an expert on design and being an artist, essentially, the artistic style of it.
What's the costliest mistake you've made in business? And I don't mean money-wise, like one you look back on and like, fuck, that had really negative impact.
Negative impact.
Or not negative, maybe not the right word. It either hindered your growth or maybe took you in a direction that you regretted.
So I have the just flat out income one, right?
Okay.
I know that.
It could be whatever.
Shout out to my boy Aaron from Redcon, right?
Yeah.
So
sometimes the costly has nothing to do with
he's
income.
valued at a lot. And
still?
Yeah, he's doing really well.
Good.
So the company like just almost like flatlined the year he was gone, and like he showed me the sales when he came back, and like he's just like fucking shot through the roof. But originally I was going to go do the company with him, and I think I was going to have 20% of it, and we were like working together. I designed all the labels, and then for a second I felt like I worked with him, and I'd bought a Toyota. No, I had a Dolphin. I got rid of the Dolphin. I had a Sunraider. You know what a Sunraider is?
I don't know what a Sunraider or a Dolphin is.
Okay, so you know the little tiny Toyota truck motorhomes that are like all over California that people live in?
I
like
think
it's
so.
that like really it's from the 80s. It's like the really small Toyota truck.
Okay.
And then it has like a motorhome on the back that doesn't look like it should be on the back of that truck.
Okay.
So that's a Dolphin, right? A Toyota Dolphin. It's an RV. They don't make them anymore. So, but the Dolphin's made like shit and it falls apart. So when you get, you know, that's $1,300. All right, so here we go.
Oh,
right,
fuck yeah.
So
that looks like a rolling death trap.
So this is a Sunraider, right? So the difference between a Sunraider is a Dolphin is all like wood and it falls apart. The Sunraider's a full fiberglass rear. So that's like you're like the fucking man in that world if you have a Sunraider. So I saw a great deal on a Sunraider for $8,000 and I bought it. And I was driving, the AC went out, of course, and I was in like Tennessee or somewhere weird. I forget. It was a really long road trip. And he called me and he started treating me like an employee. And I just had full phone, like blown meltdown. I was like, fuck off. I don't even want part of this, blah, blah, blah. And he just got 20% acquired by a private equity group after 5 years of being in business. And the generational wealth.
The check was large.
Like millions and millions, and we're not talking like 10 million, 20 million. It's like
good for
all
him,
the way
man.
up there. And I was like, for 20%, you know, like the original thing that I was supposed to be in on, but I had a meltdown because I'm driving in a Toyota fucking Sunraider that I was so proud of. So I missed out on that, right? But that's fine. It was just me realizing like I just need to realize when I should take phone calls and shouldn't take phone calls. I don't know, man. No like big mistakes because it's like in every mistake there's so much opportunity, right? So it's hard for me to look back and say like, oh, that big mistake is where I lost all of this money. I haven't had that big just like even that I talked about that $90,000 for the V-necks.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. I just learned that like, oh, I really need to pay attention to variance now.
It's a lesson and relatively expensive depending on what kind of
And like
capital you have.
For now, $91,000. I was like all my money back then.
Yeah.
It's like now, it's like if I was screwing up these POs the way I screwed up that, like that would put me under.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, not, but close. It would really, really hurt. So I haven't had anything like that that's really hurt because normally I've made my mistakes on a small level. A lot of them, and then I overanalyze things. But I also hinder my growth because I'm so caught up in details of everything. That's like my biggest downfall is I care way too much about the details of everything.
So what about the flip side? Can you think back of like top 3 business decisions you've made?
Oh my God, I always hate these list things.
It doesn't have to be a list.
But
Does anything stick out?
Pressure. Like the top 3, like I feel like if I answer them, it's my only answer forever, and then I have to live by that the rest of my life.
So I'll give you an example for mine. Like one
Yeah.
that sticks out that definitely changed the trajectory for me was the decision to never work for somebody else again. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to go left. Well, I guess it would be like a left instead of right, but it wasn't, I need to buy this or that. It was a decision for me as a person. Like I cannot do that anymore.
I have my moment. It was so my uncle just passed away, and which made me like reflect back on conversations with him that I lost. And I worked for QVC, and then I went out and I started a business with a guy who just completely fucked me over. I blasted through my savings, and I had no money. Right, so I was like doing some weird things on the side to make like $100 here, $100 there, but like wasn't making car payments, wasn't doing anything. And I remember being on a phone call with him, and I was like, hey man, I think I might start like an apparel line. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I'm like sort of got this YouTube thing going, and like I think I have attention. I think I had sold t-shirts that weekend and made $75 online, which to me was like unheard of because it's 2009. And I called him and I was like, hey man, I think I might do this. And he made really good money, like the most money out of anyone in my family.
What industry was he in?
So he actually worked for Weyerhaeuser.
Okay.
Originally worked for, I think, Domtar, then Domtar got bought by Weyerhaeuser, the paper company. And he made really good money. He was one of the top dudes. And really good money in my family wasn't crazy money, but it was like he could afford new vehicles and shit. So I was like, whoa, that dude's fucking rich.
He had 2 Dolphins.
Could have if he wanted. Could have if he wanted.
I was talking about the animals.
No, he didn't have to. Can you imagine?
That's wealth, motherfucker.
If you had a dolphin,
plural,
I feel like they'd come after you.
They would try to rape you.
No.
Yes.
They would come after you. My old friends, the vegans.
Oh.
They'd be like, that guy's
That's
a
more
dolphin.
PETA.
Yeah, that's the vegans.
Are they always one and the same?
They're very intermingled.
All right.
It's like that's their leader.
I'm still, the very first time you and I sat down, you were telling me that Oreos are vegan. That one still fucks me up.
Yeah.
I think about that more than I should, actually.
Yeah, because there's no cream. Every time you eat an Oreo, you're like, wait a second. And I'm out here eating caviar. I traded Oreos for caviar.
Yeah.
So my uncle said, and I remember I was like standing out back of my shithole house in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, and he was like, honestly, if I could go back, I would have shot my shot. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I would have tried. I would have tried to do my own thing and just seen how it would go. He's like, you should do it. And like, that's all I needed. I needed one person in my life be like, go. And thinking about that, like when I started my coaching group and all that, it's like a lot of times you just need somebody to tell you like, yeah, man, shoot your shot, like try. And I'd never really had anyone tell me to try. And he's like, try. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll go. Like I was almost like making him proud at that point in time. So I remember that because it was the Monday after I sold tank tops. And I sold 3 tank tops that weekend for $25 a tank top. So to me, it was like a free $75. Now, forgetting all the time that I put in all that, it was, $75 showed up in my bank account. So it seemed like free money. So that was like a huge moment for me because that's when I really, really gave it my all and started trying to figure it out.
Why do you think that people need to hear it externally, that they doubt themselves until they hear somebody else say it? Because it's not like it changes their capability.
It's scary, man. It's scary, right?
Yeah.
Like I was on my coaching call this morning with my spiritual coach who I sort of forced into business, right? And
it's not a Scientology person, is it?
No. He's
you
like
don't have like a crystal up your ass right now?
No.
Good.
He's a breathwork guy.
Okay.
He does a lot of breathwork. And that's sort of how I like fell in love with him, was doing breathwork, which I was like, whoa, you can get this fucked up by breathing? Like hysterically crying? Like I didn't.
It's called hypoxia, dude. Take it easy.
No. He, listen, it wasn't that. It was over, whatever. The breathwork thing is a very interesting thing, right? It caught me completely off guard. So then eventually I started hiring him as a coach, and today's call, I just talked at him for an hour. He gave me one piece of information, but then outside of that, he's like, how did you like today's call? I was like, I loved it. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, all the stuff that's in my head all the time that I'm questioning, I was able to put it together in an hour. And then I just looked at you to be like, yeah, you're on the right track. Like, cool, man. That's all I needed. Because I think you spend so much time in your own head thinking of all these different things, not sure if it's right. Should I do this? Should I do this? Will I let this person down? What will these people think? And you get mixed up. And then you got Instagram throwing shit at you. You have normal life. You have bills. You have everything. And dude, we have so much hitting us at all times right now that it's like, it's hard. It's hard for me.
Yeah. I think it's hard for everybody.
It's hard for everybody, dude.
I think fear is probably the number one governing emotion that fucks with people in their life.
Yeah.
And if you, and again, talking about myself, like you can scroll through Instagram, right? And what do you see? People's best expression of themselves. Mm-hmm. And you could want to have what they have or want to do what they do, but you're afraid of falling short or what you would look like if you failed in the attempt or the judgment or whatever it may be. And it just shuts shit down. Mm-hmm. It's rough.
You fear on missing out, so you're doing different things. And I mean, even the fear of making decisions, right? And that's like why in my program, like it's to get to vicious so fast. Because I think it's like the fear of dreaming or like what would my family think or all these different, like every step of the way, there's just the confusion and fear.
Yeah.
And then if we can get you that point in time where you can act viciously and like take action, know why you're doing it, know why you're showing up, you're not missing out on something because you know why you're doing it. It's essentially where we want to get to.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think of the term vicious with the negative connotation either, because I understand
it's an aggressive word.
It's an aggressive word, but also making decisions, it should be an aggressive act. And I don't mean that by like grabbing somebody. I mean that like have fucking conviction in the decisions that you make.
Yeah.
And step into it with both feet, right? Like I've made some dumb decisions in my life, and a lot of them began with, I'll put my toe in the pot. Yeah. I'll just try it a little bit.
And you're trying a little bit.
And then 2 toes are in, and the next thing you're like, fuck, I'm still wet and I hate this decision.
Well, it's because you don't have confidence, right? So I think that confidence, you don't have the full confidence to jump in the water. So you like test it, right?
Yeah.
And like, how do you get confidence? Is integrity, right? You know what you stand for. You know how you show up. You know how you make decisions, right? And you do that over and over and over until you know exactly who you are. And then you can act with confidence. So you're not dipping your toe in the water because you say, no, I don't want to get in the fucking water. I'm not here to get in the water.
Or cannonball.
Or cannonball.
That's what I'm saying,
water.
but it's got to be one of the two.
Yodel the whole time, right? You're not half putting your toe in. And I think half putting your toe in, it's fear of, do I want to go all the way in, right?
Yeah.
So it's the faster you can clear that up and figure out who you are, the better life is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned by figuring out a structure and a plan and knowing where you want to go, laying out the things that you need to do to get there, and then just executing.
Yeah, I have a great like analogy for that it's like my speech, right? So I get asked to speak a lot, and I never know what to speak about. So this is like my go-to. I can give it to you right now. You understand what a brand book is, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Most people have no fucking clue when I say that, and they're like, brand book? Okay.
Most people have never interfaced with a brand at like a sponsorship level or a development level.
But you know what a Harley Davidson is?
I do.
Okay.
And it's a shitty American motorcycle.
Listen, man, calm down. All right, you have your own opinion about that, right?
My opinion in this case
yeah, you're going to fuck my whole thing up,
is
man.
100% factually accurate.
Okay. I don't know much about Harley. I've never been on one. Okay, but I know that you hate them.
I don't hate them.
You just said
there's
they're
better
shitty
options.
American. Okay, so there's better options. But so I think Harley's a pretty iconic brand, right?
100%.
So like when you walk up to the Harley store, you know what color orange it is. Like you see that color orange, you're like, cool. You know what their logo looks like. You know what the variations of their logo looks like. You know what their photography looks like. You know what the people that wear their clothes and buy their bikes look like. You know what their bikes sound like. You know what, when they come out with a new bike, what to expect. You know when you walk into the building, you know sort of what it's going to smell like. You know what it's going to look like. You know the people working there, how they're going to approach you, how they're going to talk to you. You know what the verbiage on the sign looks like, right? That's all really, really calculated, thought through by the people at Harley, so you perceive it a certain way, right?
Every year.
That's their brand book, right? They're like, this is our Pantone color. This is the padding around our logo. This is the verbiage we use. This is how we talk about the bikes. These are the words we don't say, right? So they're very specific. They do a lot of work to get there. And when something doesn't work, they fucking change it. So that's Harley as a brand. Now, when Harley interacts with a Ford F-150, you can close your eyes and picture like, oh, it's going to be all black. They might use matte black. They're using a stripe of this. They're going to use different wheels.
Have you seen this one driving around town? Because I have.
Right?
It's ugly as shit.
But we know what it looks like when they collab with that, right? Now close your eyes and say, what does it look like when they collab with Can-Am and make a side-by-side? And you can sort of be like, okay, they add chrome. They do all the silly shit to it. And like, it's like, you know what that collab looks like, right? So they have a brand that you understand how it operates and what other areas it steps into, how it operates in that. So that's essentially a brand book. Rules for everything. Rules, how that brand operates, what it does. Now, what I try to tell people is like, you have your own brand book, right? And I think at face value, it's like, okay, Rob shows up, he's wearing a fucking hoodie, he has like the beaded necklace, he has hair, he has hat with probably ink on it. He's normally wearing a nice watch. He has a wedding ring. He has tattoos on his hands. Like everything's sort of put together a certain way. And you're like, yeah, it's Rob Bailey. That's of course what he looks like. When you walked up, I was like, yeah, of course that's what he's wearing. I wouldn't expect you to be wearing anything else, right?
Yeah, the first thing on the top of the pile. That's how I choose my fashion.
Exactly. And I
serious.
and I know that about you, right? So like when you meet someone, you know what to expect. And I think what people don't realize is you have control over all of that. So you have control over how you look. If I choose to have a beard, how shaped up my beard is. I could shape this up every morning and take better care of myself, but I like to be rough around the edges, right? So I like that my hair is a little tattered and not combed. Like I like everything. Every little piece of me is part of communication to tell you more about who I am and attract the right people to me, right? So I'm trying to look a little bit like a designer and I don't care. And I'm not wearing it right now, but I normally balance it out with like a really nice watch.
What's your go-to?
So I have a brick, an AP brick, so a gold AP. So like when people are like, wow, look at this fucking guy, I can't figure him out. And then they're like, that's an interesting watch for that. So I like to confuse people, right? And so everything about me is sort of planned out like that. And I think everyone's sort of planned out like that. The problem is most people just don't realize it. So they don't realize what their branding package is, how when they enter a room, how they're perceived, right? Even the decision that I made to come inside to make the joke, like everything's like a little play of your personality. So what I think people don't realize is there's things in your brand book, right? Just like Harley, but there's things in your brand book that you haven't thought about and you don't have a play for it. So a really simple example is my dad grew up with a very healthy relationship with alcohol. Once I realized what alcoholic tendencies are, I looked at myself and said, cool, ah, shit, I have a lot of those in my brand book. So I noticed right away, I took my wife and I tried to separate her from her friends. And I was like, shit, that's on the list of things that alcoholics do, right? So all of a sudden I realized, like, I know who I am on my own fucking person, but there's been these things installed in my brand book that I operate with. And it's not what I wear. It's not how I fucking do my beard or anything like that. It's like emotional things that are like fucking broken. And once I realized from an art perspective that you can create any brand book you want, it's like, well, then I can also see things that are wrong, that aren't working, that aren't selling for Harley, and I can remove them from my brand book. So if like I separate my wife from her friends because I'm a controlling asshole and it's an alcoholic tendency I got from my father, I'm going to remove that one. Right?
Yeah.
And now it's not going to happen right away, but I do it for a year and it becomes a habit and I can work through it. But I have to acknowledge that it's in my brand book.
I was just going to say, it starts with the realization that it exists.
Yes. So once you look at yourself as a brand, which we all are now, because it's a completely different world. Like, what do you post on Instagram? Do you curse on Instagram? How often do you upload on Instagram? Like, these are all conscious decisions that make you a brand, that makes you who you are. And if you can start breaking it down from an emotional standpoint, like, what words do I use? How often do I curse? Like, there's so many different things about you that communicates you to other people and gives you the opportunity in this world. And it's all part of your brand book. And I think when you actually step back and think of it, it's like, huh, well, that's interesting. Like, how do I enter a room?
Yeah.
You know, what do I wear? So if I have to wear a suit somewhere, what does my suit look like? And all of a sudden it's like, just like Harley knows how they transition and show up, when you have to wear a suit to Mar-a-Lago, I know how I fucking enter. I know how I wear my hair. I know how I walk in, how I carry myself, where I stand, what conversations I have, what I don't have, because I've established my brand book in that area. So I'm not walking in there like uncertain or confused without confidence, right? So just like the integrity or non-negotiables or all these different things, I just figured it out beforehand. I don't want to figure it out when I walk into the room and feel awkward and then think on my feet. I'm not quick on my feet, dude. If I'm walking down the street and someone calls me a pussy, I'm like, what? Like, I don't have a comeback. I'm not that guy. It takes me like 3 hours.
I'll write a few for you.
Dude, so 3 hours from now, I'm going to be thinking about this conversation, but damn, there's so many things I was like slow on. There was just like, and I think about that and it's like, well, next time I need to be more ready with this. I need to be more ready with this. Cause I want to be represented properly, right? Like, I don't want to just show up and willy-nilly be this random dude that doesn't know who he is or why he does things. What a scary thing, right?
That's a tough one, I think, for people because it requires a lot of ownership. You're taking ownership over everything that you can. And
everything, dude.
You know what makes it even more complicated that I don't think we had growing up? I have a few years on you, but we grew up.
How old are you?
45.
Okay.
But we didn't have social media growing up.
No.
So you talk about entering a room and what you look like.
Yeah.
Social media is people's ability to judge you before you even come into the
Yeah.
room. So it's like the pre-entrance where they could have already formulated their opinion of you.
Which is great, man. It gives you more opportunity.
It
Same
could be
thing.
great, or you could be a total fucking idiot, and people could prejudge you because of the
well, then good for them. They get like a little fucking appetizer version of you before you get there. So
welcome.
like that's what I do on my Instagram page, right? Like, so I go back and I delete everything on my Instagram page. My Instagram's curated, bro. So like when you go, those top 2 rows are and this is like before pins and things like that, but like I see what I want you to see. So I might post something about, you know, whatever for the day, like, oh, me and my horse or whatever. But if it's not great and it doesn't represent me, I delete it or
After
hide
how much
it.
time?
I go back probably once every 2 weeks because I realize that my brand book, right, how I like to enter a room, I don't want to tell you what I do or who I am, right? I'm going to enter with enough of a presence, enough confusion, a nice watch, stupid fucking hair, whatever, and then not give you any information. That's how I like to do it. What I intend for you is to ask someone else, what does that dude do? Like, who is he? Hopefully then they say, oh, he's look him up on Instagram. He's Kill Rob Bailey. I have like 2 seconds of your attention once you're like, Kill Rob Bailey. And then
They'll know which one to click on because you got the blue check mark.
Exactly. Because, you know, and then you
kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. But then you see like 9 posts, right? So if I have 9 posts to sort of give you like a concept of what I am, I'm like, cool. I want you to see a goat. I want you to see a really cool warehouse. I want you to see probably me with my shirt off where I look the best. I want you to see some 911s. Like, I want you to look at it and be like, this is weird.
I'd get at least one picture of a midget in there.
A midget. I think
Yes.
it's little person, man.
I don't know the correct term, but I'm just saying it'll help you confuse
Well, I feel like you should
people.
learn. You're pretty close to getting canceled.
I don't think so.
They're going to protest outside your coffee shop.
That's totally fine. They're probably going to need coffee at some point. We have
will.
to-go service.
Oh, can you imagine people protesting you and you bring in the coffee? That's beautiful.
100% would. I'm totally fine.
I wonder how long until that's going to happen, because Black Rifle's always like, I mean,
think-
not as much anymore because they went.
I don't think so. I mean,
No?
here's the thing. I don't care if people want to protest. I want people to live their happiest, best life, and I don't really judge people based off of their opinions.
I like your outlook on everything. The shows I listen to for you are the ones you answer questions on Fridays.
I don't know why people ask me questions.
Because you have a really great outlook on things.
Sometimes I have my outlook.
I've never heard you have a bad outlook. So that's what concerns me about you, is whenever I listen to that show, I'm like, well, I agree. I don't want to do that. I want to be like, that guy's fucking wrong. But I just always agree.
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe I haven't answered the right question. I'm sure you could fire away, and I'd get to something where you don't agree with.
Where do you ask you questions at?
Well, you're sitting right here. So
No,
this
but
would be
I
a
want to
good
send
opportunity.
questions in.
That seems like really inefficient, considering you're
I'm
sitting.
going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm bringing Caviar. Can you tell me when his next show is, and I'm going to burst through that fucking door?
Well, you have
Absolutely.
my cell phone number.
Can we set
so
that all up?
We can just set it up.
All right, that'll be much easier than me trying to figure it out. Next
Yeah.
time you have somebody, like next time Mike Glover's in here.
He'll be here in 2 weeks for the. He's doing an event on the 18th
All right,
at
so
the
you
coffee
send
shop.
me that date,
Okay.
and then you'll see the door rattle, and then me storm in with like Caviar, and I'll be just wearing an apron.
He's Asian, so he probably likes caviar because it's fish.
Okay.
I think that's racist, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. You're on that side of the table saying all those things. I just want to be clear that I'm over here.
I thought it was
not.
you that said that.
No.
No one can be sure. They can. run it
Everyone's
back,
sure.
I
There's
guess.
2 cameras.
Editing's a crazy thing.
I'm fucked.
Have you
But I'll
ever
bring
met
him.
Glover?
No.
He's fantastic.
No, I
You would
listened
love
to
him.
his first podcast. I actually had a really interesting thing that I changed my brand book to, which is I don't just I'm holding myself to a certain standard. There was an event in Coeur d'Alene that someone invited me to speak at. And I was like, yeah, cool, I'll speak at it. And they gave me the date and everything. And then there was a little miscommunication, and I wasn't actually speaking at the event. So I drove all the way to Coeur d'Alene, got a hotel room, went down, and was like, hey, I'm one of the speakers. And she's like, you're not really on the list. And I was like,
Did they invite you as an attendee?
no, they invited me as a speaker.
It just didn't get passed along?
This is the first time I've ever admitted this, right? So I stayed there that night, and I came down, and I was like, I don't think I'm on the list. So instead of pressing it or texting my boy that invited me, I was like, let me do some research here. So I'm starting to look, and I'm like, wow, I'm not anywhere on here. Then I'm thinking back, it's like, I don't think we actually ever finalized me being on here. Then I was like, oh my God, they're going to know that I drove here last night for 3 hours. I got a room. And then I wasn't even here. And I was like, well, I'm lowering my social status. And I had this weird moment of panic. And I was like, oh my God, I look so stupid right now. And I just got in my truck and left. I never told anyone. So I was driving back, and I was like, oh my God, I need to do something to take my mind off it. So I listened to his podcast with Andy Frisella the whole way back.
Okay.
And I focused on it. And I was like, I'm listening to every word of this, fieldcraft survival. And I was like, and I was so bought into it because I was trying to make myself just forget the evening.
You would enjoy him. He was just on Rogan.
I got to call my friend and tell him that I came to his event. And he's going to be like, why didn't you text me that you were here? I'm like, I don't know, man.
Was that moment of existential crisis, did that occur in 5 seconds?
It was so fast. I saw myself and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm on it.
Yes.
And I ran upstairs, got my bag, packed it, got in my truck, and just left. It was probably 5 minutes of me getting out of there. And people probably looked at me like, that dude, why is that dude running with his head down, embarrassed? It was a weird moment. I didn't really understand it. I just felt like
the beauty of that
I wasted
moment,
so much of my time.
the beauty of that moment is that 100% of it occurred between your ears and everybody else was oblivious.
No one knew.
Full nuclear meltdown and
No one
nobody
knew. And I called my wife on the way home, and she's like, how are you? I was like, I'm fine. And she's like, how was it? I was like, wow, yeah. So I didn't speak. She's like, what happened? And I was like, well, I wasn't actually on the schedule. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I wasn't, I guess we never really finalized it maybe. I don't know. And she's like, well, did you text them or say something? And I was like, no, I just left. She's like, you just left. You what do you mean? I was like, oh, I just got my truck and drove away.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was embarrassed, man. I made it. So I added that to my brand book, right? It was like, I take my time very, very serious. And if I agree to something, I want to make sure that someone on my team is actually crossing the T's and dotting the I's. So I don't put myself in a situation where I waste all that time.
What do you like to do non-professionally? I mean, you are diversified, doing a bunch of stuff.
So I just bought a sawmill. I don't know if I like
A sawmill.
being a sawmill operator, but I bought a sawmill.
To saw other people's wood, or you're building?
My
okay.
own. I just want to make lumber.
What are you going to do with it?
I'm not sure yet. Buildings.
Okay.
So what I like to do is I like building things, and I like doing things that people do for a living. That's really hard. That I get to do just by choice. So I like digging holes and things like that.
Like randomly digging holes for no purpose?
Yeah, like if we have something going on where they're like, oh, we need we're running power to something, and I was like, don't worry, I'll run an excavator and dig a hole. And like I just built my horse barn, and my brother the whole time was like, this is taking you so long. Like you should have just paid someone to build this. And I was like, no, I like to pretend I'm a carpenter. So I like doing stuff like that, right? I like really, really getting lost in the process of things like that.
Both of those you just described seem creative as well, though.
Digging a hole?
The desire to get your hands involved.
Yeah, I like
in the
operating
process.
things. Yeah, I grew up doing things like that, like a lot of firewood chopping and things. And so dude, you give me a free afternoon where you're like, you can't do anything. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to organize the garage, and I'm going to use my wood splitter to chop up a bunch of firewood. It's like, that's what you choose to do? I was like, yeah, man, that's incredible. And now, dude, it's fucking sawmill. And bro, listen, I paid extra, so I have the wheels on the back, so I can like tow it places. So like, if you're like, hey man, I got some trees at my house, I'm like, I'll be right over, and then we can sawmill them up.
Does it turn them into planks, or what's the
to
end
make
product?
whatever you want?
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really amazing. So like I could make this table. I mean, rough, but I could roughly make this table. I'll make you a table. Maybe I'll make something for the coffee shop. But same thing, like if you
Let me
want,
take a look at send me a picture of a proposed final design so I can approve or disapprove.
bro, I just offered you
I don't need some
free milled
fuck
wood.
shit table at the coffee shop.
Fuck shit table?
People sitting there like, their coffee's
Oh
all
my
over
God, this hacked together live edge table. I don't know.
How dare you? Same man who made this table did the painting behind that is half obscured by the TV.
I can't make that. But dude, this table, I could make this.
I don't think so. You did metal work on the bottom too?
No, I can't do the metal work. But
I don't think, for clarity, I don't think he did either. I think he outsourced the metal.
yeah, these legs look suspect too, but I would have made the legs myself.
I think
Listen, man, you can make anything. So like if you just want some posts, like I don't know what you're into, but if you need like an 8x8 post, like a 12-foot 8x8 post, I can make that for you and like drop it off at your house.
Okay. I mean, I'll let you know if I'm ever in the market for that. Currently, I'm okay.
Do you need any wood?
I'm good. I
Michael
got all the
always
I
has
need.
wood.
What, is that like an inside joke?
No, I don't know. I mean, you put a softball up in the air there. I had to swing for the fences. You're asking another man, hey, do you need wood? There's a couple ways
We're
you can take
adults
that.
here,
Come on.
man. I'm
Are we,
talking
though?
sawmill.
Are we?
Oh,
Not really. No.
All right. Listen, have you ever watched a sawmill YouTube video?
No, but you know.
Holy shit.
Hold on.
Okay.
Do you ever watch YouTube videos before bed to wind down a little
Yeah,
bit?
every night.
Which is probably not the best thing because fucking Huberman says the goddamn light on the phone.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I'm deep into?
What?
And I don't know if I should be embarrassed by this, is I watch dudes clean carpets.
Dude, there's nothing wrong
Michael's
with that.
nodding his head. He's into it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This guy has a carpet cleaner called Dirt Reynolds. It's amazing.
I love it.
His channel has
You're
1.28 million followers.
You're gonna love the sawmill videos, bro.
Okay.
I'm gonna start texting them to you.
Please do.
So there's different ones, right? So the sawmill YouTube scene is very, very interesting. You have like traditional dudes that are just like cutting it up, and then you have the ones that have figured it out, and they're like, no one wants to see me running the sawmill. You know who they want to see? Is my wife in Gymshark leggings. So the thumbnails are like this girl with like her ass out, and like, today we're cutting big planks, and it has like 3 million views. And you watch it, and it's like she clearly has no idea what she's doing.
They're not there for her technical prowess.
But I'm there because I'm trying to see. So she's like, and next we're going to, well, my husband's going to move it. Hold on. And then he moves it. And she's like, next we're going to use this. And it's like, it's weird because she like taps in for all the real shit. But there's a bunch of them like that. But if you start watching them, dude, it's just beautiful. It's like this really slow, calm process that's vastly different than the rest of my life.
I love watching people make stuff on
Yeah,
YouTube.
man.
Like lathing. God, I could watch those videos for
You should
hours.
come over when I get the sawmill.
Do you have a lathe?
So it's 8 months build time. No, I'm just getting a sawmill.
I thought you said you had one.
No, I ordered it.
What
Bro,
if I
these are
need a
high demand.
What if I need
It
a
was an- it was
8
a-
by 8
a
by
one-
12 fence post? that you
Yeah,
offered
boy.
me?
It's a 1 year lead time, and I just got a call that they're down to 8 months.
Well, how long ago did you order it?
3 months. Bro, I'm gonna right in time for spring. I'm gonna be out there just fucking milling wood.
Just having your hands all over wood all summer,
bro.
just stroking that
Just
wood.
big long planks.
Both hands, if you need to.
Yeah. Well, you don't really touch it. You sort of move the. And dude, I mean, really, I can tow it behind my truck, so I can bring
All
it
right.
to your house. I mean,
I'm going to text you some videos of this guy carpet cleaning.
I'm down to watch.
So he's got two tools: Dirt Reynolds, and then R2 Clean 2. They're very different. One's circular, one's rotary, and fuck, I'm there for it.
And he cleans.
Yeah. And what do they call it? ASMR or something?
Got you. Yeah.
What do you know what that stands for?
No.
Yes.
Whoa.
That's not Dirt Reynolds though.
Which one's that?
No,
That's
I
the
couldn't
same
find
dude.
Dirt Reynolds.
No, that's the same dude. You got to go to one of his other carpet.
Oh, wait,
cleaning
what are we
ones.
clearing? Oh my god.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, look, dude, this one's pretty nasty. It had maggots in it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just
Clean it with a lighter. I know.
get
Throw
a
it
new
away.
carpet?
So that is Dirt Reynolds. He just didn't put the stickers on it yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're talking about. All right, let's.
Here.
Go ahead.
Should we type in sawmill?
Go for it.
There's nothing better than a podcast where you just watch YouTube videos.
But I don't know why I enjoy watching this.
Have you seen the guy
on?
on Instagram who cuts people's grass?
No.
If you love that,
Like we're talking straight, just like yard care.
You know when people let their yard go. He
Yeah.
shows up and he knocks on their. And it's normally like an older person.
Is this like Extreme Makeover, but like lawn edition?
But he just does it for free.
okay.
So he'll be like, "Hey, I actually cut grass. I was offering to cut your grass for free." And it's like when it's like you can't even see the sidewalk, and dude, he edges it and cuts it, and it's amazing. Then he power washes it, and like he'll clean.
I
up
can
someone's
watch that
whole-
shit all day
Dude,
long.
It's
I
beautiful.
actually have to be.
Are we not watching sawmill videos? What's going on right now?
Seriously.
Well, I got
Oh, you found him. This is the guy.
edging videos, not on the inappropriate sites.
What?
What are you talking about?
There's so many child jokes here that I don't understand because I'm.
Where did you
I'm
just try to take this, you sick fuck?
You guys not know what edging means?
I know that you don't eat caviar because you're not an adult like me.
What does edging mean?
What is edging?
I don't know if we really want to get into it on the podcast.
This is the internet.
No,
we
what
can
would
get into
edging?
anything.
What would edging be?
Okay, so I'm just going to look it up on the big screen. Here.
Don't do that.
No.
You're gonna get a virus if
It
it's
won't
that
go
bad.
anywhere bad.
Edging definition. Okay.
This might be the
Dictionary.
It's the process
Oh.
of providing somebody or something with an edge or border.
No,
What's wrong with you,
wait.
Mike?
It's
Well-
the next one down. Here, keep scrolling down. I saw
Yeah,
it.
go to Urban
It
Dictionary.
is sexual practice of holding off, waiting a few more seconds and starting again. That's not that weird.
That's
I do that.
edging.
yeah.
I didn't know there's a term for it.
I didn't know.
Yeah, you're just like almost there, and you're like, hold on a second.
That's what it's called.
I need to gather myself.
Yeah,
All right,
Michael,
so
why
now
did,
you just
why
say,
did you know that?
because I'm 23 and have had internet access since I was 10.
okay. So instead
That's
of saying,
actually
instead of
a good
saying,
reason.
hold off, I need a second. I say, hold off, I'm edging.
Yeah. I'm approaching the edge. Hold on, my toes are over the edge.
Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. So yeah, you just sort of search sawmill on YouTube. I don't know why you're avoiding it.
Well, I'm going right now. Here.
All right. So I have a wood miser. I don't know if you want to search for a wood miser
Wood miser?
LT15, but it's an LT15.
Do you have one or you ordered one?
I ordered one. It'll be here in 6 months.
Yeah, you don't have
I got
shit.
extra blades. Oh, how it works. This guy. Look at that guy.
This guy looks like he knows.
I mean,
what
he
he's
is a
doing.
happy guy. Look at that. Dude, I could make that piece of wood for you.
So that's what you got is
With
that huge
me,
machine?
not an LT35. That dude's fucking loaded. I got an LT15. I don't even know what the LT35 is. This guy's in the future. Okay,
Holy
so this
shit.
guy's really just going over what it
Let's
is.
just see a video of how it.
Well, don't tell us what we're going to see. You're the one
what
controlling the
hell?
video.
There
No,
we
I
go.
don't.
Here
I
we
don't
go.
even know what this is, dude. I don't have that attachment on mine.
Looks like
Oh,
he's
it's
just
like-
cutting
it's
planks.
It's like you need it.
No, but that blade in the front, I don't have that. That's probably the 35. I don't have the 35, so I just have this blade in the back that rough cuts. Oh man, I need to get this one. It's probably way. Oh my god, it's all hydraulic and. But see the wheels down there, so I can actually tow. I can tow it to your house. I just don't know why I've said that 3 times now, and you haven't actually invited me.
Well, I don't know what I would build.
A bench. So you know when you're looking out over the water,
Yeah.
you not me. I could facilitate it, but we could get a tree just like this. Look at that, dude. And we could cut that right there, and then you could put your own bench that every time someone comes over and you're like, that's where I sit. I made that bench with my hands using Rob Bailey's sawmill.
Or I could say I bought this at Home Depot and save like a lot of
But
time.
you're not proud of that, dude. You don't care about the process, do you?
Not on the bench.
Really?
Yeah. In this example.
But seriously.
I can appreciate doing it.
No. But looking out over Flathead Lake, right? If you had two options, if you had the bench you bought at Home Depot,
Yeah.
which isn't, exciting, or you had the bench that you milled yourself.
Is there a 6-month difference in time when I'm going to get this bench? Because that's going to influence my decision.
Yes. Let's talk 6 months from now.
Home Depot.
When I actually have it.
And don't know how to use it, so that's another 6 months.
I'll know how
probably.
to use it, bro. There's all these YouTube videos.
First off, you're probably going to cut a finger off.
And you
within the
care
first 2
about the
days.
dude that made this table for you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's one of my jiu-jitsu training partners.
But why do you care about the table?
Because he put his time and effort into it.
Just like I would do with a fucking bench for you.
No, you said you would bring the fucking saw down and I could make my own.
Because I wanted you to work with it. I wanted you to have your hands on it to really appreciate the sawmill.
Fair enough. I really enjoy, I grew up around manual labor. My dad was a brick and block mason.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to build like a lot of things, but
Neither do I.
I like the things I know. Like I like doing tile,
Ooh.
which is fucking backbreaking work.
But you like it.
I enjoy the process. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. I was getting worried there for a second. No
We'll make
caviar.
something.
You don't want to make anything out of wood with me.
Dude, caviar is gross. All right, we can get our hands on some wood
Sawmills
together.
and caviar,
if you know
bro.
what I mean. Michael won't even be there, so he's got enough wood. Just ask him.
You have enough wood?
Oh, plenty.
How old are you?
23.
So when I was 23, I took my first half of a Viagra. You ever done that?
No.
Why
not?
did you do that at 23?
Because I don't need to.
Was it just performance
See, that's what
enhancing?
you fucking think, boy. That's what you think. So I had a head chef, right? Maybe younger than 23. I just wanted to relate. I was probably 20. And I had a head chef, and he was this old dude, sexual deviant, absolute maniac.
Probably required it for performance.
He used to tell me things like, "Oh yeah, when I go pee, my girl will come up and play in my pee." And I was like, "I don't understand that. That's something you like?" And he's
She
like,
will play in the stream of
in the stream, she'll like stick her fingers in it and go like this. Blah, blah, blah.
That is pretty fucking.
And he was
gross.
like all into stuff like that, and I was like, I don't understand. Now I'm obviously older. Now I'm fully aware people are into all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But he'd tell me stuff like that, and I was always like, wow, man, you're a maniac. And then one day he's like, you ever tried blue lightning? And I was like, I don't know what that is. And he's like, Viagra. I was like, nah, bro, I'm 20. I don't need that. He's like, but what if you're ever in a parking lot and there's 15 or 12 girls you have to fight or have sex with? And I was like, there's a point in time in my life when I'm going to end up in a room with 12 girls. And he's like, yeah.
What is this scenario you're laying out for
He didn't say
me here?
12. He said 2. But he's like, what if you're ever in a situation where like you really need to show up because you need to really impress these 2 girls, so then they tell all of their friends how good you are? And I was like, I don't know. I never thought of that. But now he's like, take half of this. And he's like, you're going to be invincible. So then at 20, which you're ready to go at 20, bro, right? Like you're good to go. But take that and you are invincible and you can destroy everything in your way. Everything. Right? No edging for you. You don't want to try it. I have some on my truck.
I really don't want to try it. No.
All right, I'm just saying there's some supplements out there that can do really, really cool things. So don't.
Such as Viagra.
But you can't take a whole one.
What happens if you
Just a
take a
half
whole?
one.
I have no idea. I would never do it. I know what half of one did, and it's like a whole one? No.
Okay.
I don't know how we got there.
I don't either. I've learned new terms today on Urban Dictionary.
Mm-hmm. We've covered it a lot.
We have.
I'm not even sure what you would title this episode.
I'll probably just put your name up there with the episode number.
Do you put
That should
show
cover
notes?
it.
I usually put a description of the guest or the bio of the guest,
Oh.
which is tough for you because you're into quite a bit. How's the
Renaissance man.
for sure? Yeah. How's
Rob
the old,
Bailey, sawmill expert.
Nah, not yet.
Rob Bailey, Liver King drug analysis.
The fair.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's
All right,
fair.
yeah.
How's the real estate market treating you guys?
Yeah, it's fine.
it's a little shifty up here
It's fine.
currently.
Yeah,
a little
it's,
out of control.
I was buying a lot of houses, and
Yeah.
then I just stopped. Don't really like this market anymore in regards to that.
Because of the prices or the rates or both?
Both. Yeah, rates are gross right now. I just took out a big loan for a project I'm working on and absolutely got my dick kicked in.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it. You're bumming me out. But everything else is great because it like went really high up in price. But now the market's weird now, man. My brother just put a house up for sale, and he's had a lot of showings, but no hits. And I thought it was going to sell in one day, but those times are over now.
About a year ago, probably would have.
Yeah.
Multiple offers with probably 50 to 100 grand cash on top.
And that's why I stopped. So the last house I bid on, I did that. The last two I bid on, I put monster all cash offers in and was like, and I'll do 150 over. And they're like, okay, cool. I was like, you aren't impressed by me saying it in that voice? And then they came back and they're like,
Liver King voice.
You got outbid. And I was like, wait, I got outbid in no contingencies, 2-week close, $150,000 over asking, and I got outbid? Cool. Yep. I'm not playing this game anymore. Fuck off.
I was going to say the only way you can protect yourself in that market is to not play.
Dude,
it's the only call you
So
have.
I'm still analyzing deals because I'm not that intelligent. So the money that I make anywhere else, I'm like, oh, put it in real estate because that's the only thing I kind of understand. So I just put it in real estate, and it makes money, and it follows the market, and I have something I can show up and look at and be like, that thing is mine. Right?
Yeah.
That's as much as I understand.
You do a lot of Air BnB stuff with
Yeah.
Where can people find those?
Stay Glacier is our company. Well, is our management company, but is where you can rent through.
Okay.
Yeah. They're mostly all booked out, like, because my friends are always like, hey, can I rent somewhere this year? I'm like, yeah, sure. I talked to my girl, and she's like, no, we're booked out.
Yeah. The pictures that I have seen when you guys have posted, they're beautiful.
Thanks, man.
The renos that you guys
Thank you,
do
dude.
are top shelf for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we try. I try.
Well, that's kind of a world where like don't fuck around. Like either do it right or don't do it.
Yeah. Essentially, when I look at that, I try to think of like, what would I want to rent? Like if I was coming to Montana, what would I want? And like, I think majority of the time, like I want like an Instagram looking place, right? Like you want a photo where you can like send your friends and they're like, oh my God, you're there with beautiful lights and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, you just cram all that shit in one house. I'm making it sound not beautiful. You really set me up to make it sound beautiful, but I try to put together like the best reflection of like Instagram possible. That's gonna operate the best.
Yeah. There's worse places to go spend time in an Airbnb. Like where we live is pretty fucking
where we
awesome.
live is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. You think you guys will stay here long term?
Yeah. Yeah. I just bought a house in Cabo.
Oh yeah. You used to.
Yeah.
You were posting more about going down there. Have you?
I've gotten very busy. I haven't been down there recently. I'm going down in a few weeks, but
can you own it, or is there a time limit on that in Cabo?
So it's a 50-year trust. But they renew the trust. I'll be dead in 50 years.
Okay.
So it's a 50-year trust, which is held either through a business or through a personal trust. So it, just like America, technically the government just owns your shit, whether you like it or not. Like the government came here and was like, we're taking your house. I'd be like, stop, please, no. And they would just take it. So it's sort of the same thing in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other issue is there's not really financing down there. So like if you go look sort of where I live, there's really beautiful houses and you're like, these seem like they should be more expensive. And then when you go to buy it, they're like, oh, by the way, no one will finance it because they won't finance out of the country. And then anything financing down there is super weird.
So bring a duffel bag of cash.
Or, yeah.
Essentially, cashier's check.
Essentially, you need to pay for the whole thing in full, which is terrifying, dude.
For sure.
Terrifying. So the first time I went through the process, I was like, I'm just losing all this money. Like I'm wiring it to this Mexican bank account and I have the house now. I have the deed and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How often would you go down there?
I'd like to go once a month. But once again, travel down there is just like to Salt Lake, then to down, and then it really depends. It's hit or miss with getting through, not security, with getting through customs. Like sometimes it's like an hour, other times. So that's where if it's like I can really organize a plane.
Yeah.
But I'm not flying myself down there. It's a very far flight.
Private customs is way different than
very easy.
Yeah, consumer facing customs.
Literally just walk off the plane and you're like, and here we go.
Yeah, and there's a guy there who will stamp your shit.
Yep.
We just we were doing the jumping all over the world, and we landed in Miami, and the fucking NOTAM system shut down, so they grounded everything. So we had we sourced a jet from Miami to Barcelona, and because I had flown in Gulfstream,
it's completely different.
I knew what we were getting ready to get into for the customs, and guys were like getting all their shit. And I'm like, don't worry about anything. There's this guy who's just like looking at you. He's like, next.
Yep.
We were out of there in like 3 minutes.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's absolutely amazing. It makes it a different world. So that's like my long-term goal is essentially like split my time between here and there. Not split, but like a 3-to-1 ratio. Because I like it here, man. I really, really do.
My favorite flights out of all the ones I do are the ones that bring me back here. I think
I can agree with that.
There are more people here now than when I moved here, as I'm sure you're in the same boat, but it is so fucking easy.
It's so easy.
To pick a direction and just get utterly lost. I mean, I'm actually going to go snowboarding in Canada in March. I'm glad that the border's open because it might as well have been the Himalayas for the past few years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What the Canadians are pouring back in down here, but that's fine.
Well, did you know they don't have Target in Canada?
Like the store?
Yeah. I know this because one of the guys on the jump trip with me is Canadian, and he's like, yeah, we don't have Target.
Is that like a big deal?
Go to the Target here in town and take a look at the Alberta license plate, the number of plate. For whatever reason.
Why don't they have Target?
I don't know, because they have Walmart and a bunch of other stuff. But
I guess that's all they need.
I guess
it's essentially the same thing, man. It's just like a little organized, a little bit better.
Let me tell you something. That's what I said to him. You know what he said? Not the same.
Well, he's wrong.
He's like, it's worth the trip. I'm like, listen, I don't know what they sell at Target. I think I have a broad idea. But if it's
You've never been to Target?
I have, but I go in and out, and it's like brief. I'm not like surveying all the aisles to see
I don't
the
go
wares.
in, so I don't really know.
Well, he was saying that for most people, like an 80-miler each way is reasonable to go to a Target.
Whoa.
So,
that's too much. And they cross the border.
They have to, yeah.
Sounds illegal.
I don't know how
Do you have anything to declare? Yes, I have 4 bags from Target.
Yeah. I have some Tupperware and a vacuum.
That they could have just ordered on Amazon, right?
I don't know.
Are you a big Amazon guy?
For convenience, yeah.
Okay.
How about yourself?
Okay. Emotionally, I don't like it, but I do it.
Emotionally because you're funneling money towards big business as opposed to small?
Yeah. I don't like same thing. I don't really like I don't like the Costco business practices, anything like that, right? Like my dad said the other day, and I know Bailey's is a bad example, right? Because it's an enormous company, but he's like, oh, I got this. Do you want some Bailey's in your coffee? I was like, that's not Bailey's. And he was like, oh, it's the Costco brand that's half the price. And I was like, oh, cool. That's rad. Yeah, just undercut the real brand with the Costco brand.
On your 6% margin.
Yeah, come on, man. And I think that's what, Amazon does that on everything. So once again, anyone that sells anything with a brand, like it's just harder than ever right now, right?
Yeah.
Like the market just changes. It's getting easier and easier just to not even buy from a brand, save money, and get stuff delivered to you, right? So
it's tough to trap that convenience of being able to get.
It's really, really hard.
Well, especially here where we can get most stuff, but like if they don't have it at Best Buy, I don't know what the option is for electronics.
Yeah.
Like a camera. If say you needed a camera for content, you're not getting that shit in the Valley.
We know Polebridge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, people from Polebridge, like our FedEx driver that drops off to us, drives all the way up there every single day.
Interesting.
So if you're in Polebridge, right, you would think like, I need toilet paper. Next Thursday, I'm going to drive all the way. No. You order that on Amazon, they bring it to you.
That's
so are you really out in the wilderness?
I don't know. With Starlink, are we ever disconnected at this point?
No, I've heard that's really good.
I have it at my lake house.
Do you?
It's
Do you
awesome.
like it?
Yeah.
I think I should get it at my house. I also like not having internet at my house.
It's good to have and not need, as opposed to need and not have.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
You can turn
You're
it off.
a big prepper.
No, I like connectivity. Because
What?
it has an
You like
connectivity.
I don't know what that means.
It means I can choose to connect with people. Or I could pull it out and
So
just
it's not connectivity?
connectivity.
Connectivity.
Connectivity?
So one of the things I want to start doing is I don't have a very big vocabulary, and I want to start like stopping people when I don't know words and asking them because I'm not embarrassed because I'm confident.
Yeah. Connectivity.
Connectivity.
There's really high chance that I'm using that improperly, though.
Yeah, you are.
Really?
Hey, Michael, fuck you. What's the word? Pull it up.
Connectivity.
Yeah, connectivity.
No.
No, you just
Connectivity.
You're slowly changing it to my way.
Whoa. What is this?
Illusion?
Connectivity.
Can you hit the word where it says practice? Does that play it?
Yeah, play that shit.
Dead air.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
hold on.
don't use the mic. God.
All right, fine.
Play that.
Connectivity.
Yeah, connectivity. Exactly how I said it.
It sounds more like the way that I said it that he made fun of me.
First
didn't it?
off, what's
like it's like connectivity.
What's fucking me up is that phonetic spelling right there.
Connectivity.
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 Hard K. Connectivity.
Connectivity. I think mine wasn't that wrong, and you made fun of me.
We're actually, for about the last 60 seconds, that we've been talking.
You're gonna cut it
get,
out.
We're going to get completely mocked. No, I'm never going to cut it out.
Who's going to mock us?
The internet.
Wait, where do they mock us at? I'm not ready for this.
Probably online.
Comments.
Yeah.
Where at online?
Probably Instagram will be the most likely
All
place,
right,
or
I'm
the
ready
YouTube
for it.
comments.
I'm ready for it.
Get in there, mix it up.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't want to get in there. I don't even know what they're going to do. Will they be able to see me? There's a camera aiming at me.
yeah,
Oh, fuck.
yeah.
Did I sign a contract?
No,
All right, I don't need one.
yeah.
Connectivity.
Connectivity.
Connected.
All right,
That's
I'll
our
get
word of
Starlink.
the day.
I'll get Starlink. Fine.
Well,
Along
you
with
can just
edging.
pull it out of the wall.
What do you think of Elon?
I mean, shit. I mean, I only can base my decision or my thoughts off what I see publicly facing. He seems to be super, super smart and pulled in 50 million different directions. And I wonder, much like you're looking at with your brand, trimming away everything, how much could the man like that do if he focused on just one thing?
He's already doing a lot.
That's what I'm saying. But like, what if he put it all into Tesla or all into SpaceX? And I'm not recommending that he do that, but
You don't think Tesla's already doing great?
I think they're doing okay.
You think they do better?
I think everybody could always do better.
Oh.
I think that's the headspace you got to live in. Constant student for like the rest of your life. Path of improvement.
Yeah, but do you think him doing better is focusing on
I'm just
more
curious
Tesla, or
what
is
it would
focused-
look like if he did. Like if he stripped away everything and all of his focus was just on one
How much
thing.
of him do you think is marketing?
Of him?
Yeah. Because he's very, dare I say, right-leaning in the Twitter space, right?
You know?
Very like freedom-based. But do you think that's all him just playing a game, or what?
I think there's a chance he's on the autism spectrum, so probably doesn't think in those terms.
Okay.
That would be my initial suspicion. Having never
I
met
don't
the
like
guy
that
or had
answer.
a...
I was hoping there would be a better answer, but you like took that answer. It's like a not answer. It's like, well, I can't answer that because he's on the
I
spectrum.
don't think his brain works like that. I think that...
it has to.
I don't think so.
No.
Just because our brains work that way doesn't mean everybody's do. Like, who's the guy who started Microsoft?
Bill Gates.
Never met the guy either, but I've heard from people who have interfaced with him, high functioning on the autism scale. And I don't say that negatively at all, because some people at that level do amazing things.
Yeah.
But I think if you're at that spot, your brain thinks about some things and completely disregards
Do you
others.
think that he's trying to get rid of everybody with the burp? Are we allowed to say the
What are you talking about?
COVID shot?
Do you think who's?
Bill Gates.
I can't keep track.
And it's a lot. That's why I'm asking you. I thought maybe you knew more than I did.
I mean, I see people talking about that online, but I worry about the really vocal minority sometimes and the narratives that people will wrap their heads around. I think people, when they're unhappy, they look at other things to like find purpose in or to tear down. You know,
Unhappy people. Scale from 1 to 10. How happy are you?
depends on the day.
Yeah.
I'm
What's
happier.
your average?
What's high? 1 or 10?
10's high.
10's high. Man, if I'm being totally honest, I feel like I have a relatively flat emotional range, and I think I've been that way my whole life. I don't have really crazy highs and really crazy lows. What I would say is in the last few years, it has consistently edged up. So I'd say 7 or 8.
It's that good Montana air.
It's good Montana air, and it was finding the right person.
Look at that.
I was married for 19 years and 11 months. Got a divorce.
19 years and 11 months. I've been married 16 years.
Yeah. We were together for over 20 years.
That's so long.
It's a really long time, and it ingrains patterns and thought processes.
Yeah.
And changing those for me was the healthiest thing that I think I've ever done. And and from that,
And just relationships are all of life.
yeah, kind of. And changing the optic on that has changed my outlook on a lot of things. And it definitely, I have a different understanding of what happiness feels like for me. But I will go back to what I said, that I feel like I've had a relatively flat emotional range in comparison to a lot of people. And that's like anger as well. Like I don't get super high, don't get super low. Just kind of like down the middle of the road.
Your emotions are under control.
Yeah. How about you? 1 to 10?
Oh my God. A lot of 3s and 9s.
Yeah.
You know
In
what
the
I
same
mean?
day?
In the same day. A lot of 3s and 9s. Yeah, I think I never get too high and I never get too low, but I'm always like one drastic or the other. As you were saying that, I recently had someone leave my life. Not my wife, but somebody else that I had in there for a really, really long time. And the biggest thing I realized is like, whoa, they brought me down a lot. Like I knew they had a negative outlook, and their perspective on things was trending down and things like that. And then once I removed them, or they removed themselves, or the departure happened, I was like, whoa.
The exposure to that stuff, when it's like...
You don't realize.
Well, because it's a fraction of a percentage. It's not like somebody dumps 2,000 pounds on your shoulders. They just put like a nickel on there. Mm-hmm. And then a quarter, and then it's $1, and then it adds up over time, and then it finally falls off your shoulders. You're like, whoa.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. My flight instructor did that when we were flying. He like starts to turn a little bit, and then like after a long period of time, like you're leaning on him. He's like, and he goes, "Why are you leaning on me?" And I'm like, "I'm not." Well, how did that happen? Like
a little bit at a time.
Yeah, and you don't even notice it, right?
Yeah.
And I think every once in a while that course correction is so important. But that was like really, I think in the last 4 or 5 months for me, it's like my eyes are open. Like I didn't realize how heavy that was.
Do you ever get nervous when you're feeling happy or things are going your way?
Terrified.
I do too, because and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it will constantly come full circle for me. Like, oh, this is great, but okay, what am I missing? What am I missing that's going to totally fuck this up?
Oh, so you're thinking that there's like a man behind the curtain, like a dark thing?
Not a man behind the curtain. I get uncomfortable when things like sequentially go my way.
Yeah. Okay. Not me. So what I get terrified of is I realize that, like, I believe the right word's like manic. In my creative flow, like I'll get in these points where like everything's clicking and I'm crushing and like everything just seems so perfect and I'm like feeling on top of the world, and I'm a 9. And I've realized that if I'm a 9, I go equally as far in the other direction, like the next day.
It's very Kanye West of you.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind Jewish people. He doesn't like the Jews, right?
He's doing a great job of rewriting his brand book. He's ripping some pages right out of that son
man.
of a bitch.
I think he's great, but like, it's like he's making it harder and harder to be like, man, I like that guy.
He's really painting with a broom. He's really painting.
I'm hoping he brings it back because I like him as an artist.
He's certainly, some of his music is incredibly creative, but he needs to shut the fuck up and probably, not a doctor, find a way to like find a little bit more flatline as opposed to this roller coaster that he seems to be on.
And that's sort of what I'm trying to do. I'm not Kanye West, but realizing my high is going to be so high, I sort of check myself and I'm like, ooh, don't enjoy this moment too much, or at least be aware that tomorrow you're going to crash hard, and try to take action. So like, don't drink tonight when you're celebrating, or little things like that. So I try to correct
around
as
the
much
edges.
as I can. Yeah.
Smart.
Thanks, man. I'm not real smart, but I have some things more under control at my old age, young age.
I don't think you have to be a genius to be successful.
No, you don't.
I think one of the biggest things people make the mistake of is thinking that they're a genius when they're clearly not.
Yeah.
That's definitely the recipe to shooting yourself right in the foot.
Yes. I think if I had less, because I kind of have a high self-worth of myself. I don't think I'm a genius, but I'm pretty smart. And I don't say that because I always try to pretend like I'm humble, but I think I'm pretty smart. I think if I thought I was less smart, how does that work? If I think I'd be more successful. If I just took more dumb, it's almost like shit, I don't want to say retard strength because you can't say that, right?
You just did.
But it's almost like when you're like, can you lift that up? And some guys are just like, yeah, and they just lift it up. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, they didn't ever
like
think.
You didn't even think about pulling your back out.
Nope.
And that's all I think about, or like how to get my legs under it, right? And I remember when I was younger, I could just lift up everything. And I think that that's like the one thing in business is like I get slowed down now with the risk. And I think I'd be more successful if I like wiped away a little bit of the. I don't have much intelligence, but I wiped away a little bit of it and took more risks, just like shot for the stars. I'd probably be better off. Or
it could go the other way.
No.
You never know.
No. There's something about determination, man. Something about determination. I think as long as you have a determination and you're a little bit of an idiot, you can take over the world. Right?
I think an argument can be made for that.
Yeah.
For sure. What do you want to close up with, dude? We've been at this a couple hours.
I have no idea.
Where can people find you?
Kill Rob Bailey on Instagram.
Okay. How about...
that's essentially the hub for everything. I mean, the new projects I have going on...
Flag Nor Fail would be a great place.
Flag Nor Fail would be great, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start funneling everything towards Flag Nor Fail.
Okay.
I mean, even the coaching group's going to sort of get under there a little bit because I think that in talking through with some people, it's like CCV is the process, but Flag Nor Fail is the mindset, right? So like you can follow the mindset, but then I don't want to make you go over here for the process. So sort of get it all under and really establish like the vertical integration of that brand. Other things I'm working on is land and ammo. Absolutely love it. It's such a fun passion project. No one really cares, but
you do. That's all that matters.
And that's all that matters, right? I have Kill Rob Bailey, the band, metal, coming out a lot of music. Flagner Fail, running Sups, supplement line, Onward, Stay Glacier, all sorts of things.
You get a lot of shit going.
Yeah, so that's why I just tell people to go to Kill Rob Bailey. You'll eventually find everything through that.
Ridiculously curated and fake.
It's not fake, man. It's real stuff, man.
Real stuff that you curate.
And you curate your stuff too.
I put up all sorts of stupid shit.
You just don't curate it for a second time.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Once it's up,
it's not like your phone's just uploading things right now that you don't know about. You're consciously uploading things. I just consciously upload things and then go back and evaluate what I uploaded.
That's fair.
Dude, you have the ability to do that. Imagine if you could go back to your past and be like, that wasn't the best look for me, and you can just delete it.
I don't know if we'd be sitting here today if I did that, though. I need to learn from those mistakes, too.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they need to stay on the internet.
Oh, no. You should clean that shit off the internet.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Curate for a second time, my friend.
Fair enough. Closing thoughts?
Are you going to take me to Black Rifle Coffee before everyone else?
It's right by your truck. We can rock.
Is it really that close?
Yeah, it's 2 blocks away. I'll take you right now.
Oh, cool. All right, that's all I want to do.
Let's go.